you in the dirt, man, plotting on the best, and I bring it to your worst. Always had a comeback, no banter. I'm known as a serial ranter. Means I don't hold back, nothing, put hands up. My emotions.
Live from Ice District Plaza in downtown Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, it is the FIBA 3x3 Women's Series quarterfinals. My name is Doug McLean, joined by Patrick Erickson, and first up, first quarterfinal, it will be X-Wing out of Japan taking on France. France, the World Cup champions, having won that back in June in Antwerp. So, Patrick, this should be a heck of a quarterfinal. Winner gets Canada.
Winner gets Canada, and for France, that could be a measure of revenge. That was their one loss yesterday, and that was a rematch of the World Cup final. But let's talk about X-Wing for a second. I don't think anybody knew too much about this team coming in. It's a team technically from Japan, but 2 Americans, 1 Japanese player, and 1 Thai player, so a mix. And they looked awfully impressive yesterday. They went 1-2, but they took the number 1 team in the world, Germany, to a 1-point game, and they almost came back against the undefeated USA squad. And so this is not a team to take lightly in X-Wing. They've got good size. They've got great shooting in Yumi, and just a very cohesive team. Saw them practicing earlier this morning. They were installing new plays at 8:30 this morning. This is a team that works for it, and they know what they're up against, but they're not going to back down from any of these teams.
No, I don't think so. And X-Wing probably brings the most diverse lineup to the women's event in terms of you got Yumi, the smallest player in the tournament. You got 2 bigs in Zimmerman and Kukowski, and then what you would describe as probably a 3 or a small forward in the 5-on-5 game in Bo Kunchuan. So you've got an interesting mix, and I think that has provided X-Wing a bit of that dynamic nature that's caused some matchup challenges for the teams that they've faced.
Yeah, we saw especially Kukowski. She's got an inside-out game that's very difficult to defend. Zimmerman, a little bit less with the outside shot, but still a big post presence, but very difficult. And Kukowski actually runs their offense. She's the one installing these plays this morning, running charts off of diagrams off of her phone. As they look pretty fluid. They looked very in sync offensively yesterday, and certainly will give the defending World Cup champion France a run for their money. France is going to have to deal with some size that they have not dealt with yet. Now, Guapo is a big player herself, but she doesn't have necessarily maybe the strength of a Kukowski or a Zimmerman, but she's got the length, and she certainly has an inside-out game. She was by far the most impressive player for the French team yesterday as they went 2-1 in Group B play, losing just to Canada. And X-Wing went 1-2. Their losses were to Germany and the USA, and they knocked off in a little bit of a surprise Netherlands, who came in as kind of one of those teams of will they won't they make the top or the bottom of the bracket, and X-Wing's the one that advances, where the favored Netherlands has been eliminated from the tournament early. So very intriguing first matchup as we get set for quarterfinal 1 to be followed by a second quarterfinal, and then we take a small break, a couple semifinals, and the championship will wrap up the women's event before we get into the men's main draw later this evening as we enter day 2 of 3 down here in Ice District. And it's been fun so far, and now we get to see our first knockout stage. This is going to be a blast.
It really will be. And now, just as we talked, it's been a little bit overcast this morning. The sun's starting to peek out around to the south side of Ice District Plaza, so we expect that the heat will start to pick up again. Temperatures expected to be a little cooler than yesterday. Yesterday pushing over 30 degrees. Today expected to be probably in around 25, 26, and the threat of some thunderstorms later this afternoon, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Hopefully they do stay away, but right now for these players who played in this heat yesterday, I won't say they'll be used to it. Spoke quickly with someone who had a conversation with Michelle and Catherine Poof, and they said it's the hottest tournament they've ever played in. And they've traveled all over playing 3x3, so that'll give you a sense of what we weren't exaggerating yesterday when we said it was hot.
I wonder what the betting odds would be that the hottest they've ever played is in Edmonton, Canada, where it is very warm, but it is not known as a tropical climate. But there you go.
Wow. Here, just for those of you who may not be familiar with Edmonton, let's put it this way. Last summer, we hit plus 38, which is unusual, I'll say that. And then in December, minus 38. I don't think there are a lot of places on the planet that would have a 76 degrees Celsius difference between summer and winter, but we had that last year.
Now we digress as we'll continue,
Yes,
but as
we'll
the
get
sun
back.
is coming out.
It's coming out. We'll look at the lineups here quickly. For X-Wing, Natalie Kakowski wearing number 25, Bo Kunchuan wearing 24, Takakua Yumi wearing number 7, Camille Zimmerman 20. For France, Romain Berny number 47, Letitia Guapo 12, Victoria Majikudemi number 30, and Marie Manet number 1. X-Wing will wear the black with white numbering, and France in their traditional bleu, blanc, et rouge. As we are just about set to get underway with the first of 2 quarterfinals. Canada and the United States await the winners of these two following this one. It will be Germany taking on Force 10. And I think we're not sure what's going on. Referees just getting things set up here.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. As you mentioned off air, the French started kind of slow, but they have found their rhythm, especially in that third game against Romania that closed out our action last night. After that loss to Canada, they did a pretty good job rebounding as they're still figuring some stuff out, so we'll be a minute or two late with the start of the game. No big deal. But France's team, they don't have a Kakowski or a Lauren Cox that we're going to see, but Guapo and Mane especially, both are very long, to use a basketball term, bouncy players. They can jump, they've got long arms, and so they will be able to bother Kakowski in the low post. And all of them shoot. Every single one of them is a threat from 2.
And I want to clarify something I said earlier. The winner of this game gets Team USA, just to confirm. The winner of the next quarterfinal rather will get to the semis and take on Canada. So just to confirm that had that backwards before, as we've been trying to confirm a few things on the tournament side.
Looks like scoreboard, which is just out of our view, is having an issue, as we've been able to use the Rogers Place billboard that faces Ice District Plaza as our scoreboard, which has been flawless to this point, but that is the reason for our current delay to start this first quarterfinal. As we can see pretty much everyone in the crowd taking a look up at the screen.
Our camera will take a look at it as well. So there you see Rogers Place. That is one of the main entrances into the arena where the National Hockey League's Edmonton Oilers play, and the screen, it's essentially a screen capture that they've been able to then move onto that main video board. So just something that was a little bit out of alignment. So I think we're all good to go. And we're underway. First of 2 quarterfinals, X-Wing and France. Here is Yumi. Early with the left hand, Takakua Yumi.
Didn't see a lot of that yesterday. She's got a heck of a jump shot, but taking it right to the hole.
And a steal early for X-Wing Zimmerman. Guapo nearly stole it right back. Zimmerman a little short on that 6-foot jumper. And it will remain X-Wing ball. And here you get a look at that Yumi layup. No fear in Takakua Yumi at the defensive or offensive ends of the floor.
No, that is a confident player, the smallest player to going up amongst some of these trees here from deep, as she's fouled off ball right there by Berny. But yeah, she's not afraid of wherever she goes. We saw her pregame trying to use every inch of her height to get some basketballs that were stuck in the net out of it. Didn't quite have the vertical for that, but she'll try anything. She, as you say, is fearless.
Averages 3.6 points a game in her 8 Women's Series events so far. X-Wing have played in 2 previous Women's Series tour stops in Stile-Trois-Poitiers and Tel Aviv, where they finished 7th and 9th respectively. France, the world's 3rd ranked team, as mentioned, the gold medalists back at the World Cup in Antwerp in June.
Rare misfire. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying where they knocked off Canada, who they lost to in the final game of their round pool play yesterday.
Rare misfire there from Guapo. It was with the shot clock expiring, but she had some space and missed everything. Don't think we'll see too many more of those from her. She takes a seat for a second.
Kukowski, nice feed high-low to Zimmerman. And that has been a dynamic duo, as Patrick alluded to. Manet takes a bump from Zimmerman. Tough shot on the reverse. Thought she got fouled, no call. Here's Kunchuan. Has the ball stripped away by Berny. Has to get a shot off. Did not touch the rim, and Majakudami and Kukowski get tied up. As Kunchuan will take a seat, as will Berny for France.
Just like yesterday, this game starting a little bit at a slower pace, but most of them picked up, and right there we get a basket. France on the board.
Victoria Majakudami, native of Bondy and Saint-Denis. 67th ranked player in the world. 6 seconds on the shot clock.
And she hit some really big shots yesterday, especially when Guapo really couldn't find much against Canada early. She was their offense for a while, and one there for Yumi.
And there is Yumi bringing the offense here early. Second bucket for her, and she will head to the free throw line to try to add one more and give X-Wing a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, crucial for X-Wing to start strong. And they did yesterday against Germany. Germany just did come back, but they've had strong starts in 2 of their previous 3 games, and continuing here early against France, 3-1.
Manet, strong take. Missed, but cleaned up by Berny on the opposite side of the rim. Kukowski, crossover to her left, blocked by Guapo. And Berny comes in to scoop up the loose ball.
Guapo's length counters Kukowski's size.
Guapo, step back jumper will not go. Kukowski will dribble it out. And a huge collision there. 4 players, Kukowski, Yumi, Berny, and Guapo all involved.
Already France's 3rd team foul, none for X-Wing so far, and free throws in the women's game yesterday decided a couple of games, including X-Wing's opening loss to Germany. So if they get into the bonus, big ups to them.
Yumi, jumper, goes. Takakua, Yumi. The offensive spark here early for X-Wing. And Berny falls, gets fouled. Not sure.
I think she just slipped.
Yeah, that's what I was worried that she might have rolled an ankle just trying to come to a stop. Looks like she's fine, which is good. We were worried coming through the men's qualifying round this morning because of some of the humidity. Now it may change with the heat now on the court. That could help, but for a while we saw some players slipping, and you could almost see a bit of that humidity starting to layer itself on the court. Kunchuan, bodied by Majakudami, and
I mean, they're going to call that with 1 second to stay with X-Wing, but it sure looked like she stepped out of bounds a couple of times.
Yeah,
right in front of us.
Absolutely did, and she was trying to hug the line.
And now I'm not sure if they changed the call or they counted the shot clock violation, but it is France ball.
Good give and go, Manet to Majakudami, but she can't convert.
Oh, you got to hit those.
Kukowski for 2, offensive foul though, first on Zimmerman. Zimmerman led the Ivy League in scoring back in 2017 and 18 in NCAA competition when she played with Columbia. Here's Guapo, former world #1 player. Foul on the ground first on X-Wing. So bucket didn't go anyway, but it would not have counted.
Kukowski's off to a bit of a slow start. Yumi, the only one who scored for X-Wing so far, but Kukowski by far the most impressive player for X-Wing yesterday, and she's only taken 1 shot and missed it.
Guapo lost the handle, looked like going up with her left hand. Quickly X-Wing out to Kunchuan. Zimmerman inside, defended well by Guapo. Now she'll work against Zimmerman. And Guapo, nice pivot back to her right hand and puts it home for all. We are tied up, and here is Takakua Yumi working hard to try to find a look, and that shot clock wound out. You just don't see a lot of that I mean, usually the ball's moving much quicker than that, and in that case, shot clock expired on X-Wing.
Yeah, that shot clock, as you mentioned earlier, creeps up on you in 3-on-3 awfully quickly. France knew it because they challenged the shot like they knew there was going to be no shot fake, but I don't think X-Wing just lost track as we hit our first media timeout, all square here. But after a quick start for X-Wing, France certainly seems to have settled in, especially defensively the last few possessions. As they have Guapo's pretty much taken both Zimmerman and Kikowski's inside game out.
Yeah.
As we've mentioned, she's not as big or as strong as them, but man, she is long and her defensive positioning is awfully good.
Guapo's second in the women's series coming into this weekend in points per game at 8.6. And as mentioned, the former world #1 player.
Pretty much all of their offense ran through her yesterday, especially in the Canada game, as Mane really couldn't get going.
And the score in that game, 2017, probably flattered France a little bit. 4 late points on a couple free throws and a late 2 that got it closer. But really France was, after the first few minutes, was really not in that one against Canada.
No, Canada and the U.S. both looked incredibly impressive yesterday, and we'll see them later today.
Guapo hands all over Zimmerman, and finally a call comes.
That's a bad foul, too. That's as far away from the basket as you can get in 3-on-3, and they're one non-shooter, and Zimmerman had the ball. There's no reason to commit that foul.
And 5 team fouls already. We're not even 4 minutes into this one for France. Zimmerman turnaround, jumper will not go. Rebound, Majikudani. She'll bring it out. Swings it around. Now Mane's hands. Majikudani on the floor. She gets grabbed from behind by Zimmerman. Foul on the floor. So the 4th foul on X-Wing. So the foul is starting to mount for both these teams. I mean, it's not often you look and you have team fouls higher than the offensive output from those teams. And that's where we sit right now. 5 team fouls for France, just 4 points. 4 fouls for X-Wing. They've scored 4 points.
All those points from Yumi.
Guapo on the handoff. Tried to go reverse. A little high off the window. Did not drop. Kunchuan answers back with a 2. 6-4 for X-Wing. Guapo inside. That one goes. Kunchuan just 20% from 2-point range coming into this game. She'll try another. That one catches just the front of the rim. Mane spins back out to clear. Bounce pass back door. Weak effort there by Mane, and then she'll pull up for the jumper. Doesn't drop. Yumi long 2. Catches the front iron. Easy rebound for Majikudani.
That's her spot. She likes the wings in the top 3 or 2s, and I don't know if I remember her missing one yesterday. A little short on that one, though.
Majikudani has that one rattle off the window and home. 6-all. Oh, that pass stolen, intended for Yumi. Guapo sees a lane, but loses it, then has the ball deflect right back into her face. She looks to be okay. Then blocks the shot of Kikowski.
Yeah, I think she's fine. Good recovery, but about 2 feet away. Take that right to the head. That's never a fun one. And it really looks like France has figured out this X-Wing offense, because after a couple of early baskets from Yumi, they have not really had much in the way of good looks. Kikowski's been a non-factor, and she's tied up right there.
Yeah, she really has not been. And Kikowski averaging 4.5 points a game, a player value of 38.2. But she has been pretty quiet. Guapo left alone on the right side of the rim, puts it home after Kikowski couldn't stay with her. Zimmerman finds Kikowski up top. Yumi, step back, 2. Huge hit for Takakua Yumi. He's played for X-Wing in both of their World Women's Series appearances so far this year. 384th ranked player in the world. Missed there by Bernier. Rebound to Kikowski. Nice seal there by Zimmerman. Good find by Kikowski, but Zimmerman can't finish. Now they go inside to Kikowski.
A lot of physicality being allowed under the basket.
Jumper Kukowski misses and deflected out of bounds.
He'll stay with X-Wing there. And definitely seems like some disjointment with both of these teams. This is, Yumi's almost outscoring France by herself, but neither of these offenses look like the offenses we saw yesterday.
No, and as you just said, a lot of physicality under the rim and plays that you might think would get called, but are being let go. So the teams are going to decide this one here today. We'll take a look at some of the highlights from earlier on. A spot in the semifinal against the United States on the line here between France and X-Wing. France finished second at a recent World Series event in Bordeaux, France, losing to Spain 21-15.
Some more confusion, not sure what's going on, but a lot of excitement going on the court right now. And they call that one.
Yeah. Foul from behind, as Guapo clearly did have a hold on Zimmerman as that pass came in.
6th foul on France. Every foul from here on out puts X-Wing at the line. And Yumi in particular, a very good free throw shooter. Big advantage there for X-Wing.
Bounce pass back door to Kunchuan. Foot shuffled a little bit. She doesn't quite agree with it, but nonetheless, it will be France ball.
And she wanted that foul that would have come if there wasn't a travel in the bonus free throws.
Guapo now with the ball. Thought she had a step on Zimmerman, but will step back. Bernie surveys things. Guapo had to get that shot off and hits it. Letitia Guapo. Big shot for her. 69% from 2-point range. Sorry, free throw, I should say. 23%. I was like, wow, that's a big number. I'm looking at the wrong one.
That is a difference.
That is a slight difference. And a foul.
3 seconds.
3 seconds in that case. First one I think we've seen called all weekend.
I think we saw one this morning in the qualifier where they decided to play Harlem Globetrotter past the ball.
Oh, yes, you're right. We did. That's right.
That is the only other one. No, I think they're a little more lenient with the 3 seconds in 3-on-3. But yeah, she didn't step outside of the charge arc, let alone the key.
Maja Kudunmi misses that too. Doesn't catch anything. It will be X-Wing ball. 9-8 France. We've gone back and forth. A few lead changes here. 2:50 to go.
And as always, X-Wing has been in every single game they've played. Lost to Germany by 1, lost to the U.S. by 2, won their one game by 1, and they're right in here with the World Cup champions. So they're not going to go away. It's a matter if they can find that bucket or two that they need to pull away.
Kukowski spins around Manet. That shot won't go. Manet deflected out, but right into the hands of Kunchuan with a new shot clock. Yumi.
Go ahead.
Loses it in the lane. Thought she got held.
Now Mane asking for the foul. It's been a theme, especially in the women's game so far.
Almost after every whistle, there's a conversation with the officials on something, but Maja Kudunmi will put the ball in play. Here's Manet. Marie Manet played professionally at Landerneau last year in France. Guapo off the window and good. 10-8 now France leads. X-Wing has gone ice cold offensively. Kukowski, Zimmerman with Guapo on her. Zimmerman backs her in. Shot won't drop.
Nice block out by Guapo there to ensure there was no offensive rebound. And Yumi with 6 of those points, and then 2 others. So, I believe the same as with France. I think we've only seen, and because we don't have the running line stats in front of us, I think only 2 players have scored for each team so far.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Manet well off on that 2-point attempt. Maja Kudunmi to Bernie. 2 from the wing, doesn't go. Kukowski back out to Yumi. Bernie closed on her. Now Trapp gets it over to Kukowski. On the floor with her left hand. Layup good. Nice play by Natalie Kukowski.
And the warning for blocking the start of the fast break, I guess you could say, in the half court. So you get the 1 warning. You got to stay outside that circle and allow them to come out And another warning or another violation in this game would yield a technical foul on X-Wing.
Manet. Maja comes off the Bernier screen. Now back up top. Bernier held up by Zimmerman. Foul first. That's after a lot of early fouls by X-Wing. They haven't had one in about 4 minutes.
That's just their fifth, as you point. They're not even in the bonus yet. And France has done an excellent job. They've been stuck on 6 team fouls for about 2 minutes now. So both teams tightening up.
Guapo for 2. Well off the mark. Rebound Zimmerman. Guapo down.
Yeah, that's not good. She a little gimpy getting up.
Looks to be okay right now. She goes baseline, kicks it out to Maja Kudemi. Yumi flies by her. Jumper won't go.
Some open shots. France has missed a couple layups and a couple of wide open twos, and that's going to be an illegal screen on Zimmerman. But yeah, France has had every chance to pull away in this game, and their shots just aren't falling, especially if your name is not Guapo.
And similar to what we in reverse to what we saw with X-Wing yesterday, especially in their first game against Germany, where they had every opportunity to end that game and couldn't. And now France having the same situation here, trying to find a way to pull ahead, but X-Wing just not letting them do it. Guapo spins against Kunchuan. That helps a lot. Big score for Letitia Guapo, up 2. Kunchuan, Bernier on her, puts that one up off the back iron. Easy rebound, uncontested for Guapo. Foul on X-Wing, and not sure why if you're Kukowski you do that one there, because all that does is send Guapo to the line for a pair.
And we get the timeout there, and with this 2-point lead and a short clock left, if you're France, there's one player that cannot shoot the basketball, and that is Yumi. She should not be allowed to shoot the ball. She is their biggest threat. Other than that, France has shown they are very capable of grinding out the game and grinding out the clock. But a couple free throws here, this game could be put away, especially with the lack of offense we've seen from X-Wing since the first couple minutes when they jumped out to that early 3-1 lead. It has been a struggle for everyone on X-Wing that is not named Yumi.
Yes, it really has. And again, as you pointed out yesterday and today, I mean, in terms of how good Kukowski was, but basically eliminated here in this one as Guapo. I'll get it right this time, 69% free throw shooter. We'll get that correct. Hits the first. And stretches that lead to 4. So big foul by Kukowski, and now X-Wing's got to go. Yumi has her shot blocked by Manet. Rebound, Zimmerman loses her footing, and now Manet can dribble it out.
Should just about do it right there.
Guapo looks up at the clock, knows it's in their favor. And bucket won't go. That's a travel first.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot. I love watching Yumi play. She's giving up at least a foot there on the inside, knowing that if the basket goes in, it kills any chance of a comeback. As she does enough to force one of the best players in the world into a traveling violation. As that ball goes inside, here is Zimmerman, and she is fouled on the shot. Guapo asking for a 3-second call, not forthcoming, and so Zimmerman will head to the line for what is, with 10.3 seconds left, essentially a do-or-die free throw.
Yeah, Zimmerman at the free throw line, 78%.
Impressive number for a post player.
Second one missed, rebound by Bernier. And France should be able to run out the clock. Foul there by Zimmerman.
Yeah, I think Zimmerman tried to miss that last one on purpose and grab the rebound, which is pretty much was her only option. They get possession in a basket quickly, maybe they have a chance, but now we got France, and Bernier scores her first point, icing the game from the line. Really impressive tournament for X-Wing as they'll fall in the quarterfinals. They were in every single game, and I think they've had the hardest schedule of anybody. They've played USA, Germany, and France. You might as well just give them a game against Canada, and they'll have hit the 4 most impressive teams so far.
Kukowski does finish with a bucket, but you're right. They had a tough schedule, absolutely. But the World Cup champs prove their worth. 15-11 victory over X-Wing. So they will take on Team USA in the semifinal a little bit later on. And we will get going right away with the next matchup featuring Germany taking on Force 10. But yeah, X-Wing, and you said it a few times, Patrick, they just could never get going, especially with their bigs. Just never really found any kind of rhythm inside.
Yeah, and that might have been the unfortunate part of yesterday, as France probably got a pretty good look at Kukowski and said, yeah, we're not going to let her do that to us. And credit, I don't want to take anything away from Kukowski. Guapo defended her extremely well in this game. Her length was good. Her positioning was excellent. And as much of a factor as anything, as they said, somebody else is going to beat us. Yumi did her best, but just not enough firepower to hang with the World Cup champions. But really impressed with X-Wing. If this team stays together and continues to grow in chemistry, as you said, it's just their third tournament together, they're one to watch out for as an underdog. I would not want to face them, especially if you've never seen them play before, because they are a very difficult team to play against. But France will move on.
And speaking about difficult teams to play against, Germany, the #1 ranked team in the world, having to go through the quarterfinal to move along here today. They were 2-1 yesterday in pool play, defeating X-Wing and the Netherlands and losing to the United States. Force 10, they were 1-2 yesterday, losing to France, knocking off Romania, and losing to Canada. The #1 and #2 ranked players in the world, in Sonja Greinacher and Luana Rudefeld, make up a big part of this German roster.
They were pretty much their offense yesterday. Good role players with shooting and defense of the other two, but this team starts and ends with Greinacher, #1 ranked player in the world. You pointed it out on their player value metric. She's almost double the second place player.
She's right now at 93.3, and as I look down my list in terms of players in this tournament, the next highest player is her teammate, actually, Alexandra Wilkie, at 58.1. So that'll give you a sense of just how effective she is in terms of all the different components. Let's look at Force 10, team from the United States, first appearance in the Women's Series in 2022, affiliated with the Seattle Storm of the WNBA. Blake Dietrich, Merritt Hempe, Alexis Peterson, and Catherine Westbeld. It was Alexis Peterson, the former Atlantic Coast Conference Player of the Year with Syracuse, who was very effective for them yesterday.
Yeah, she looked really good. It took a little bit while to get going in that first game. We talked about it, that Force 10 didn't really look in sync that first game, but man, they found something in those two games. And Peterson, yeah, she is quick. She found her stroke later in the game, and I don't know if there's a player left in this tournament that's quicker than her. Her drives are fantastic. Maybe Lene Harper from the USA team.
The other one. Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of too. It will be Force 10 ball, Force 10 in the black and white, whereas Germany in the white with red, yellow, and black trim. Dietrich gets it to Peterson in the middle of the lane. She'll step back, tries to lob it into Hempe. Tough score, but knocked down by the former Georgia Lady Bulldog Merritt Hempe.
Yeah, nice basket there. Didn't really have much of an impact yesterday, but you know she has the size and she needs to get going, and she does early.
And there is Wilkie, spins middle and scores. Alexandra Wilkie averaging 3.8 points a game. Peterson for 2. That one a little strong. Rebound by Hempe around Greinacher. Grabs her offensive board and goes up again. She'll head to the line.
Apparently only all Hempe needed was to play against the #1 player of the world, and she'll make an impact. A basket and a foul drawn as she holds her head from the tough contact, but she'll get a free throw attempt to try to put Force 10 back up.
Merritt Hempe averaged 2.7 points a game yesterday in the pool play. And the sun back out from a few clouds that had covered it over. Here is Greinacher working against Hempe. Steps down with her left foot. Shot won't go with the left hand. Foul away from the ball.
You could have called that on either of them.
Yeah. As both Hempe and Greinacher got tied up. 2-1 early for Force 10, not even a minute into this game. Doug McLean along with Patrick Erickson. Ice District Plaza, downtown Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, on a beautiful late July day. Temperatures expected to be in the high 20s. Shot won't go. Greinacher rebound. That one won't go. Blocked by Dietrich, but they're going to get a foul.
And that's where they needed to go. Hempy's was taking her break for a second as you're freely able to rotate on after every basket or dead ball. But with her off right into Greinacher, and she draws the foul and will go to the line to try to tie this up. First foul on Force 10 in the game. Germany has 2.
Just to check quickly on the weather, 23 degrees right now. Wind's pretty light, about 11 kilometers an hour. Possibility of some thunderstorms later through the city. Whether they'll come over downtown is another story, but offensive foul, and it will be Germany ball. Emma Eichmeyer, number 9, native of Osnabrück, Niedersachsen, puts the ball in play. Rodefeld, number 2 player in the world. Shot won't drop. Here's Dietrich for 2. That one off the mark. Great rebound by Peterson and puts it back in. She was drafted by the Seattle Storm, played 17 games for them. Wilkie answers back with a bucket of her own, 3-all.
And what better place to learn how to play point guard than with the Seattle Storm, because Sue Bird, probably the best point guard of all time in her final season now, but she's been there forever.
Yep.
Doesn't get better to learn from literally the best.
No, that would be, if you're going to go somewhere and learn, that would be, as you said, a spot to do it. As Greinacher, from her spot right into the rim, cashes in. Hempy, short corner jumper doesn't go. Westbeld puts that one home. The former Notre Dame Fighting Irish won a national championship back in 2018.
She had an excellent tournament yesterday, especially in those last 2 games. She was pretty much co-offense along with Peterson.
Wilkie with the score for Germany. Here's Westbeld, answers right back, and both teams going back and forth. And this has been kind of the way for Germany. They have not been able to extend leads in most of their games. In fact, trailed through a better part of the game. Their first game yesterday against X-Wing.
They should have lost that game. They were down. If X-Wing hits one free throw, it's over, and Germany comes back, gets a couple baskets. They hit their free throw and win by 1, 21-20.
Rodefeld had to get that shot off, and it goes. Luana Rodefeld as the shot clock expired. Westbeld got inside position there on Greinacher. Good find by Peterson. Great look. Rodefeld will step back out beyond the arc, goes to her right, dribbles through with that help on the screen from Greinacher. Oh, Greinacher falling down, able to, that's such great concentration to be able to keep your eyes focused on the rim as you're literally falling over.
Yeah, Westbeld did a pretty good job, but Greinacher's just so good.
And Catherine Westbeld with another answer for Force 10. They trail 8-7. One of the more high-scoring games we've seen early on. We just passed the 7-minute mark, and Greinacher knocks down the 2. Peterson backdoor around Eichmeyer, gets fouled and gets helped up from Eichmeyer.
Definitely the best we've seen Greinacher, I think, so far.
I
Most
agree.
fluid that
Yeah.
she's looked. She's got her inside game going. She just hit that long 2 from the wing. So this is the Greinacher we thought we were going to get rather than the one that was in fits and starts yesterday.
Sonia Greinacher, 4 years with the Gonzaga Bulldogs, a women's program in Spokane, Washington that has started to follow the path forged by its men's program, and the Gonzaga women's program starting to have that same level of consistency, having won the West Coast Conference Championship this past season.
Yeah, and it started with Greinacher back in her college days, along with Courtney Vandersloot of the Chicago Sky. They went from an 11 seed to the Elite 8, which is unheard of in women's basketball, where upsets are a lot less common than men's. But, yeah, they are turning into a powerhouse out there in Spokane.
Again, a very small school, but has become a basketball powerhouse. Mark Few, the head coach of the men's program, has done an unbelievable job.
Yeah, it was John Stockton and who for a
That's
long
right.
time, and then Dan Dickow and the men's team started, and ever since, now Gonzaga's a national title contender every year.
Yeah, and again, starting to see the same thing on the women's side with the Bulldogs. Hempy with the ball in the high post to Peterson, gets around Eichmeyer. Foul on Eichmeyer, and Peterson will head to the line for a shot. Alexis Peterson, perfect at the line yesterday. native of Columbus, Ohio, 185th ranked player in the world on the women's side. Rodefeld working against the aforementioned Peterson. Wilkie tries to dribble in a phone booth between Dietrich and Westbeld. The dribble didn't work, but she got fouled, so it will remain Germany ball.
Yeah, a little bit of a half-hearted double team there. I mean, you had to try it, but yet leads the foul, but then they get the turnover.
Dietrich, great look after the steal. Westbeld couldn't convert, but Hempy there to clean up the garbage and put it home. Rodefeld, though, another deuce for her to reestablish the lead for Germany, 12-10 as we hit the 6-minute mark. Dietrich spins inside. That's a tough shot working against Alexandra Wilkie, but able to put it home, 12-11.
Nice drive by Dietrich, who didn't score too much yesterday, but she definitely has the capability after that kick ball. It was a very good scorer in college, but with a nice basket there. 1-point game, yet another close game. That's all you can really ask for, competitive games, and the cards or the chips will fall where they may, but every game we've seen for the most part has been pretty close.
Nice bounce pass by Rodefeld to Greinacher. A little bit off the mark, but she was able to corral it and put it home. And there comes back defensively with the block on Hempy.
I think Greinacher's seen enough of Hempy underneath, said no more, find someone else, I'm done with this. Swats that one out of bounds. Probably increasing her ranking value to over 100 now.
That's right. Here's Peterson, finds Dietrich. Nice dump down to Hempy. Hempy playing in her 14th international 3x3 game. Ball out of bounds. It remains with Germany. Shot clock at 8.
Much better offense continuing today for Force 10. After that first game struggle, they've been pretty good offensively ever since.
Good look to Greinacher, and that one able to just roll home. 14-12 Germany. We're not even halfway through the 10 minutes. And an offensive foul. And it will be Germany ball. Eichmeyer to put it in play.
Feels like a little bit of a crossroads right here. If Germany can get a basket, it'll be their largest lead and might put Force 10 on the ropes. And there it is. Nice backdoor pass.
Yeah, and again, they draw. Eichmeyer able to draw the double team and then the bounce pass. Backdoor to Rodefeld. Peterson worked hard. Wow, how she even got that shot off, I have no idea. If it had gone in, it would have been a miracle from somewhere.
Sports Center's next after that if it goes in.
I fully expected her to go up with her left hand. Next thing I know, she scooped it underneath Wilkie.
Caught her as unawares as she's like,
wow.
I didn't foul you. You did, but you didn't do anything wrong. It's just a great play by Peterson.
Peterson hits another free throw. 15-13. Wilkie kicks it out. Greinacher for 2. That one off the mark. You can see it right out of her hand. As Force 10 goes big here with both Westbeld and Hempy. Westbeld guarded by the smaller Wilkie and able to cash that one in and then deflected away by Alexis Peterson.
Yeah, I like this move to 2 bigs now that they go away from it again, but trying to counter that Greinacher size a little bit, but also get a mismatch because Germany doesn't have a second big player like some of these teams do. So then, and Force 10's success has come in the paint in this game.
Rodefeld, pull-up jumper doesn't drop from 4 feet. Greinacher loses it, gets it back, turn around, jumper rattles down. 16-14. Another backdoor look from Hempy to Peterson. That one stolen by Germany. Here's Eichmeyer. Her pass deflected away from Dietrich, and the defensive intensity starting to ramp up here as this game wears on.
Yeah, both of these teams obviously want to move on to the semifinal. The winner of this gets to face a hostile Canadian crowd in a little bit. But obviously both teams want to move on, and yeah, defense part of that. Not there, though.
Good back cut by Eichmeyer to open herself up for the look. 17-14, Germany just 4 points away. Peterson, layup. Rodefeld, guarded well by Dietrich. Bounce pass from Greinacher to Dietrich, and the spinorama by Luana Rodefeld. Shot does not drop, but 8.6 for effort. Peterson works her way in and then hands it off to the cutting Dietrich. 17-16, and now the ball just deflected out of bounds by Westbeld. Immediate timeout.
Watch this highlight. Peterson doing everything, and Gronacher stays with her. But that great cut and pass at the end of that. My goodness.
Yeah, impressive on both ends, both the handle for Peterson and the defensive play by Gronacher. And you get a little bit of the work done by Germany. There's Rodefeld, who's been a factor here today, the world's number 2 player.
Yeah, this has been if you go off yesterday's standings, I would not say this would have been as competitive as it was. No offense to Force 10, they're still coming together in Germany, the number 1 ranked team in the world, but it looked like Germany was about to pull away, but just like that, Force 10 within a point.
Wilkie draws the foul on Dietrich. Just their 5th, so only possession for Germany. And still a foul to give for Force 10. Eichmeyer, and a travel first. Ball didn't hit the floor before the pivot foot moved. And it will be Force 10 ball with a chance to tie or take the lead.
Yeah, nice little comeback here, and not any one player. It's been a very good team effort for Force 10.
Ooh, good look there as Hempy able to sneak in behind Wilkie. Peterson found her, but just a little over-aggressive on the pass, and it sails out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a big missed opportunity because Greinacher's sitting on the bench right now catching her breath, and so they got the size inside, and they just missed that pass.
Wilkie for 2. Back rim, doesn't drop. Dietrich with the rebound. Another chance to tie or take the lead for Force 10. Dietrich spins back, left hand, just will not drop for. Wilkie right down Main Street. Oh, and the bucket eludes her, but she does earn herself a trip to the line.
And now both teams after that foul, as you get a look at that drive and the foul. Both teams right up at the bonus, 6-6 in a 1-point game. That is critical.
And we've talked a lot, of course, about Greinacher and Rodefeld, understandably number 1 and number 2 ranked players in the world, but you can't lose sight of the fact that Wilkie, who missed that free throw, 36th ranked player in the world, and Eichmeyer 61st. So they've got 4 players that are essentially in the top 60 in the world. So it's a pretty deep lineup, and it's not solely reliant on Rodefeld and Greinacher.
No, it's not. It's just that's a testament to how good they are, but take nothing away from the other two. We've seen Wilkie have a pretty good impact, especially lately driving the basketball.
But the score's been stuck here at 17-16. Greinacher tipped that ball away. Shot goes up and good. Force 10 has come back to tie this thing up. 2:35 to go. Here is Rodefeld. Westbeld, reverse layup. Force 10 in front, 18-17. Wilkie layup, good. Ooh. And Wilkie and Hempy get tied up.
Yeah, they found the size mismatch with the guard against the big. Now 2 free throws.
Yeah, so that's huge for Force 10. Merritt Hempy will head to the free throw line. Her first free throw attempts of this weekend.
You get a timeout on the court here as we see some of the many Greinacher highlights. But really impressive performance by Force 10. First appearance on this series this year. Now they are an affiliate of the Seattle Storm, but usually, as we've talked about, chemistry is crucial. I'm not saying they don't have chemistry, they're showing it, but really impressive against the number 1 team in the world. They have 2 free throws. If they make them, they're a bucket away from ending this and sending the number 1 team in the world home in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, which should already be a pretty impressive showing for Force 10, making their first women's series appearance in 2022. Free throw goes for Hempy. And makes them both. Germany had missed a free throw earlier.
Dietrich begging for that call off the deflection. It looked like the right call, but obviously, Dietrich wants that ball.
And Rodefeld had reached her hand out to the ball, then quickly pulled it back, just letting it bounce out of bounds. Greinacher loses it. Rodefeld gets it back, and that's a travel.
Great. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Force 10 now, a chance to win.
Yeah, great defense there by Force 10. Everyone knows that ball is going to Greinacher, if not as a scorer, as a distributor, and they shut that down and a chance to win.
Peterson inside, layup, will not go, follow Westbeld, and it's over. Force 10 with the upset victory over Germany, 21-18, and they will move on to the semifinal where they will take on Team Canada. And Force 10, you said it, Patrick, they trailed midway through that game, and it looked like Germany was starting to pull away, starting to get that rhythm we expected to see from them, but then they had an answer late, and Germany could not get going offense in the last 3 minutes.
No, they couldn't. It was 17-14 Germany, so if you do the math, that's a 7-1 run Force 10 ends the game on. That's huge. As Greinacher kind of went a little bit quiet, they didn't have another answer, and every single player on that Force 10 team came to play in this game. Peterson missed the shot, but she made that play with that drive and a great hustle. Great hustle there by Westbeld to follow that up and end the game by points. And I would say that's our first real upset of this tournament so far, on the women's side anyways.
Yeah, and again, I mean, for a team that's come together here under the banner tied to the Seattle Storm of the WNBA, I think they have to feel ecstatic about how they've played and the fact that they've got at least one more game to go, semifinal against Canada.
Yeah, they get the hostile hometown crowd, and should they win, the likely opponent would be the other American team, so they've got a lot to look forward to play for. But yeah, our semifinals are set, and they should be two real good ones here as France will take on the USA, and Canada will take on Force 10. Both of those matchups should be quite entertaining, as this whole tournament really has been.
The first semifinal, as Patrick mentioned, it will be Team USA taking on World Cup champion France. That will go at 1:50, so in about 23 minutes time. And the second semifinal will follow that one at 2:15, featuring Canada and Force 10. He's Patrick Erickson. I'm Doug McLean. We are going to pause ourselves and be back with those two semifinals in about 20 minutes time. You're watching FIBA 3x3 Women's Series Basketball live from Ice District Plaza in downtown Edmonton, Canada.
Pesos. I got pesos. Leaving the port, I go to resorts. Word. Love with Dominican women, I go to the source. They go. I hop in the rental and know I don't care if I'm lost. Alright. I go out for dinner, I tell her keep pouring that sauce. Keep pouring that. If time is money, I wanna know what does it cost. I live and I learn, I never see things as a loss. Never. Tell her I got pesos for a back massage. I got pesos and she think it come from trapping hard. Pesos come from taking dollars down to Mexico. I'm converting all this money till they let me know. Blow that money like a candle on a birthday cake. I'm getting money, that's the words they hate. I'm counting USD, where's Frio? I'm about to catch a flight where I need pesos. Plenty pesos, lots of pesos. I brought a bag of dollars, now give me pesos. I'm counting USD, where's Frio? I'm about to catch a flight where I need pesos. Plenty pesos, lots of pesos. I brought a bag of dollars, now give me pesos. I lay on the beach, I'm stretching my feet. I'ma catch me a 10 and get me some sleep. She talking to me, she asked what I drink, and she speaking in Spanish. I don't talk that, but the pesos be speaking the language. I got pesos in the bed that got a money sign. All the swimsuits that she wear that got that bunny sign. I'm just chilling and she feeling how I live my life. I take no prisoners and I never take advice. You got locks and shake your head, throw that smoke up in the air. You can either get it poppin' or complain like isn't fair. Blow that money like a candle on a birthday cake. I'm getting money, that's the words they hate. I'm counting USD, where's Frio? I'm about to catch a flight where I need pesos. Plenty pesos, lots of pesos. I brought a bag of dollars, now give me pesos. I'm counting USD, where's Frio? I'm about to catch a flight where I need pesos. Plenty pesos, lots of pesos. I brought a bag of dollars, now give me pesos. Now give me pesos. Give me pesos. Give me pesos. I brought a bag of dollars, now give me pesos. I'm counting USD, where's Frio? It's cold. I'm about to catch a flight where I need pesos. It's cold. Plenty pesos. It's cold. Lots of pesos. It's cold. I brought a bag of dollars, now give me pesos. Ha!
Welcome back to Ice District here in downtown Edmonton. Patrick Erickson alongside Doug McLean as we are set for, are we in the semifinals already? We're in the semifinals.
It's flying.
USA versus the defending World Cup champion France, who just about an hour and change ago advanced to this with a win over, a very good win over what had been a previously tough X-Wing team. So they get their shot at a dominant USA team who pretty much steamrolled their pool at a 3-0 record yesterday. But a semifinal, the winner will face either Force 10 or Canada in that final. But Doug, this is a very intriguing matchup all over the court.
It really is. I mean, when we talked a lot yesterday about Lauren Cox, especially early in terms of how she played. One X factor for Team USA, Letitia Guapo probably being the X factor for France, former world #1 player, and her length and how she can play at both offense and defense. But then you start to add the talent beyond that. I think the key for this game is, can France find enough offense from other places? That was a bit of an issue in their quarterfinals. You take a look at the bracket that's gotten us to this point. Can they find enough offense? Because I would be more confident that the U.S. right now has that deeper offensive ability than maybe what we've seen from France here this weekend. But that's not to take away from France. That's something to me that they need to bring out if they're going to move on to the final with a win here right now.
Yeah, they really do. Guapo, she's had seemingly like one teammate step up per game, but the U.S. knows who Guapo is, and they're not going to let her individually beat them. But their factor, Lauren Cox, down low, as you mentioned, especially in that first game where she seemingly hit every single turnaround possible. But we just saw Guapo eliminate another impressive big in Kukowski, made her a non-factor against X-Wing. Can she do the same again?
That's a great question. And I think, a bit of a different type player, I think Cox is, from what we saw from Kukowski. But nonetheless, Kukowski almost brings a little bit more of a challenge because of her ability to put the ball on the floor. Not that Cox can't do that, probably not the strength of her game. So that would be maybe the one factor, but I think the size of Cox and that turnaround ability. But can the length of Guapo get out to defend that turnaround jumper? It disappeared a little bit later in the day yesterday for Cox, but I think that'll be a very intriguing matchup, and I think we're going to see a lot of it.
Yeah, I would put that one down as the one to watch, along with who's going to guard from this French team. If you are assuming that Guapo guards Cox, who is guarding Brianna Richardson, who's only an inch and a half shorter than Cox and is a terrific wing out of Mississippi State. She has been, and all these players, Lene Harper is an outstanding player, and Joanne Allen Taylor, all of these players played at an extremely high level or are continuing to play at an extremely high level. Every single one of them is capable of taking over, and I just don't know if France, beyond Guapo, has that extra firepower. But we just saw an upset in the previous game where #1 Germany just fell to Force 10, the other USA team here. Anything's possible in this tournament.
And you look at the players like Victoria Majakudinmi, a professional player the last decade, so lots of experience on this French side, which could play a factor here too. So it's a very, as you said off the top, it is a very intriguing matchup, I think, this one. Defending World Cup champs against, I call them the upstart U.S. team just because they haven't played together. We all know the history of basketball in the U.S., that goes without saying, but I think an upstart perhaps here because it is only their second Women's World Series appearance, having finished second back at the Stila Poitiers event.
Yeah, they had that second place finish, but you can see the chemistry has been built as we introduce the players now for France. Romain Bernier, Laisha Guapo, Victoria Majakudinmi, and Marie Mane, no relation to the famous soccer player, for Team France, who will wear their whites, which they wore in their first game, and now in the blues. Being introduced is U.S. Lene Harper wearing number 6, Brianna Richardson wearing number 8, the number 13 ranked woman in the world. Lauren Cox, the aforementioned dominant post, and then Joanne Allen Taylor making her debut on this circuit as well. But for her and Cox making their first appearances, as Richardson and Harper played in that one series earlier, honestly, they looked like they had the most fluidity of anyone on that U.S. team yesterday.
Yeah, Allen Taylor, 4 points a game in the 3 matchups yesterday. Lauren Cox, 5.7. Only outpaced on an overall average, Lene Harper did play in that Steel at 12 Poitiers event. She averages 5.9 points a game. So they've got some offense, like we said a moment ago. And that's, I think, the question for France. Can they find enough offense here today to match what I think the U.S. can bring on a pretty consistent basis?
Yeah, and it's going to come down to that. We've seen, I think France has been the one team that has consistently threatened not to get to the points and decide it by the minutes. Credit to their defense, but also maybe a little of a knock on their offense beyond Guapo. U.S. will start with the ball as we are set for semifinal number 1. Winner will play for the championship later this afternoon as Richardson takes it immediately in, driving left. And there's your early answer of who's going to guard Richardson as Mane swats it out of bounds.
Well, in a switch there, initially Mane on Cox, and you see that again, and then the switch happened, and it ends up being Mane on Richardson as the foul picked up. So we'll see how that goes, because I would have guessed the same, that it would have been Marie Mané taking on Richardson, but for the moment they're content to have her matched up on Cox.
Maybe a little bit of a mind game. Maybe they're intending for they know the switch is going to happen more often than not. Who knows? We'll see it play out as Lene Harper at the free throw line gets a friendly bounce, and we are underway scoring-wise 1-0, and Richardson says, let's take a break as she swats the ball out of play. I love Brianna Richardson's game, and she's got that confident attitude about her. She's got that swagger, if you will, about her game.
But it's almost a quiet swagger, like not a big talker, not flamboyant in the sense of, I mean, she just goes about her business and is extremely effective at doing it.
Yes, she is the captain of the U.S. team, and we talked earlier about X-Wing practicing earlier today. The only other team, at least from when I was here in the morning, that was practicing was the U.S., and it was Brianna Richardson leading their practice. So she is their leader, albeit a quiet one at that, but sometimes those are the ones that catch you by surprise. As after a little bit of a break, it'll be U.S. ball, only for an offensive foul, as I think that's Bernier.
Yeah, and that'll go on Cox. You can see Cox telling Alan Taylor just to wait, let me set that screen first. And that's such a big thing. I mean, you talk about continuity, but that timing of setting screens, using screens, and Cox, they're just saying, hey, let me set it first and then use it.
Guapo working on Cox, will take a fadeaway and does not get the bounce. Richardson is able to hold it in, and nice play by Richardson to get possession back to the U.S. on the left side. Now moving down the middle is Alan Taylor. Pull up is off back rim, no good. Guapo with the rebound. Quick shot there for the U.S. as now Bernier drives on Cox, and a size mismatch in favor of Cox and a big block. And right back in, that lead pass a little too far for Lauren Cox, and back to France. Bernier open 2, air ball out of bounds.
Yeah, I had a pretty good look at that one as the close came from Alan Taylor a little bit late, but Bernier just did not get a lot on that shot. Comes up well short, U.S. ball.
And now Alan Taylor driving again. She'll float it up. It's too long. And then I believe that foul's called on France as Lene Harper was bowled over in a rebound scuffle. So it'll remain with the U.S. and France already with 2 fouls a minute into the game.
Yeah, Magic Kudemi deflected the ball, then tried to get to it and went right through the American player.
Harper with a big 2 from the left wing as she scores, and U.S. has an early 3-0 lead.
Lene Harper 48% from 2-point range.
Mane with a quick answer, and France is on the board. 3-2 U.S. A little dump pass down to Cox from her favorite spot, and she misses it. Might have rushed the shot a little bit. And now a jacked up 2, and back-to-back shots from Majana Kundemi. It's a name. As France takes their first lead. Harper's shot too long, and we're going to have a break as I think that's Maj who just took an elbow, I think to the gut maybe. Hopefully just winded as she's on the ground right now. Nice rally for France, though, after a quick U.S. start.
Yeah, it really is. And getting some of the answers early that we talked about, where can you get that extra offense? And it's back-to-back 2s from Mane and Magic Kudemi, so they're getting a little bit of that offense as Magic Kudemi, I think, is okay. Just, again, maybe a little bit winded. And with we know we sound like broken records, but with the heat that's been and that we've seen and the clouds that are kind of around and I won't say threatening, but definitely some clouds that can turn into storms. But right now, staying away, and Magic Kudemi appears to be all right.
One factor we didn't talk about yet is the fact that France has already played a game today and the U.S. is completely rested. And so if that's anything more than a stinger and France is reduced to 3 players, that mountain gets a lot harder to climb.
She appears to be okay. I think, again, just maybe a little bit winded.
Mane with the ball on the left elbow. Nice pass to Bernier. Couldn't get the shot to fall over Cox. Alan Taylor with the rebound right back into Cox on Mane. And there's her little turnaround. And we're tied at 4. Quick 2, no good. But the rebound, no shot there as Mane's fouled on the rebound by Lauren Cox. But it's a broken record. Time and time again, you cannot give Cox that turnaround.
No, and we saw it a lot early. Didn't see it as much later in the games for the U.S. yesterday, but good sign for Team USA if she can get hot early like she did in their opener yesterday against the Netherlands.
Guapo absolutely denied, but Guapo stays with it. Great play by the Frenchwoman as she gets France back on top after Cox swatted the initial shot. I think Cox thought that was going out of bounds, and Guapo didn't give up.
Well, and it's a great example of, you hear it in lots of sports, next play, right? So the block happens, and a lot of players, you get frustrated, oh, geez, what could I have done differently, etc. But Guapo's like, forget, I'm going to get the ball, and then you're going to play me high, I'm going right around you. And that's why she's so good, is it doesn't matter. You block my shot, fine, I'll just go get it, and I'll turn around and score on you anyway.
We saw at least 2 or 3 times in that quarterfinal where she would immediately follow a defensive stop, get the ball, and either hit the open 2 or drive back in. As another foul on France, their 3rd. Now Cox has the ball off to Richardson on the left wing. Harper posted up. The point guard posts up and draws the foul. Guarded by the double team of Guapo and Bernier. Guapo not happy with the call, but Harper to the line for 1.
Yeah, 3x3 basketball is maybe the best example of just that, putting stuff aside. In other sports, you might have time to think. In 3x3, you don't have time to think. So a mistake happens, you got to put it away, and you got to get back to the next play because it's happening right around you. So you have no choice, and I think the teams that are successful are the ones that seem to find that answer.
Oh, what a drive by Guapo on Richardson, who had good position, drew the foul, and I'm not sure how that shot falls, but Guapo has come to play against this U.S. team. France back up a point, a chance to make it a 2-point lead as she heads to the line for 1.
Guapo 69% at the free throw line.
Hits that one. 7-5 France early on. We saw an upset in the last quarterfinals as Cox has an open 2 from the top and nails it, and we're tied again. But France threatening the U.S., but good answer by Lauren Cox. And a quick 2 from the other side for France by Mane is long. Harper with the rebound right back into Cox on the mismatch. She missed the layup. And we'll see who they call that foul on the scramble.
He's going to go on France.
That's already their 5th. They did this in their quarterfinal, though. They got 5 and then 6 fouls against X-Wing awfully quickly and then did not go into the bonus. They're going to have to do that again against the U.S. because that's their 5th foul, as we'll take a timeout here. 7-7 early on.
A few moments ago, you saw that 2 from Lauren Cox. She's 3 for 6 now from long range. So something you've talked about a few times is that ability in 3x3. You got to be, if you're playing inside, that's great, but we got to have you be able to knock down shots from long range. And Lauren Cox has been able to do it, like I said, 3 for 6 so far in the tournament.
Yeah, it's an element to the game that she's added since her college career that saw her win a national title as arguably the best player on an outstanding Baylor team. But you would be it would be a rare sight in those days to see Lauren Cox get any higher up than the elbow. Certainly didn't have a 3-point shot to her, so she's adapted to the 3-on-3 game, and 50%, that's all right.
Yeah, hey, I'll take that all day.
Richardson from the right wing works in. Good D by Mane, forces her to pick up the dribble. Now she's trapped. Here comes Alan Taylor driving on. Mane switches and blocks it out of bounds, and they call the shot clock violation there. It'll be France basketball.
And Maja Kudumi, she's going to feel like she was in a car accident here today.
Oh,
I mean, she comes to, clean screen, but a hard screen set by Richardson, like running into a brick wall. And Maja Kudumi is just trying, I think, to gather herself.
That ball kicked back out to Guapo on the right wing, a little loose, but Guapo spins with it now. Nice kick out. And a step back is no good, and I think they're going to call a travel on that, or it's out of my range of view, but the refs are calling for time as we'll get that sorted out.
Yeah, that's a heck of a play by Guapo. That hard penetration, draw two defenders, goes right at Lauren Cox and knows exactly where she's going to go. Basically kicks it back out to where she came from, to Maja Kudemi. But more impressive on that play was the close from Richardson, who came from a fair ways away to challenge what looked like a really open 2 initially for Maja Kudemi.
That's been the defensive theme, honestly, of this tournament, especially on the women's side so far. You think there's an open layup or a lane, and it closes real fast, especially when you got the length of some of these players, of a Richardson and a Guapo and a Greinacher and those players. Not a lot of room in half court.
Well, that's what we're dealing with. I don't think that's legal in any kind of basketball.
Nope.
A 78-second shot clock.
Oh my goodness.
That would, that would almost go back to the days of no shot clock.
You just want to take the 2-point line away and we'll go all by ones?
Right. Hey, let's do it. I'll pull out my Converse Chucks and we'll go get set to play a little 50-style basketball.
Well, if you want the throwbacks, it's not quite, it'll be a long way to get there, but on the men's side, we're going to see a player whose father played in the era of no shot clock. Rick Barry's son, Canyon Barry, one of the best 3-on-3 players in the world and the number 2 player in the U.S., will be here as well. So we got a little bit of a retro and the son of a legend coming up later today as well. As again, we had our qualifiers this morning as we continue to work on this shot clock issue as Edmonton. The Edmonton men edge out Saskatoon. They qualify for the men's main draw. We're in our semifinal action of the women's play. The winner of this game will play the winner of Canada and Force 10. That game will follow immediately after that. And then, oh, by the way, we got the entire men's tournament left to start, which starts this evening and moves all the way into tomorrow as we continue just what's been a great set of events so far here in Edmonton.
Yeah, lots of basketball still to come here today. 12 men's games coming up later on, starting a little bit before 4 o'clock Mountain Time if you're tuning in.
3:45 Mountain Time. The championship game for the women's scheduled at 3:05. And again, our next semifinal featuring Force 10 in Canada will start just a few minutes after the conclusion of this game, as we enter our first technical issue of a tournament that has gone outside of about 30-second scoreboard issue in the first qualifier this morning flawlessly, as our crews from the media and just the event organizers and those setting this up have worked tirelessly. I know a flock descended on Edmonton in this area last night at about 11 o'clock when Thunder started, and they covered everything up in tarps. They have worked awfully hard. So one glitch, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And while we have a moment, just want to thank some of the great partners and sponsors that have made this possible. Of course, FIBA, putting 3x3 on and building this game throughout the world. Ice District, working with the Oilers Entertainment Group in terms of Ice District here just at the terminus of Rogers Place. The arena right here in downtown Edmonton. I want to thank Explore Edmonton, the City of Edmonton, and the partnership between them, Edmonton Events, that looks to bring sport and cultural events to our fine city, to Red Bull, and we'll touch on something with Red Bull momentarily too. The Downtown Edmonton Business Association, the Edmonton Stingers, Edmonton's Canadian Elite Basketball League team, who will be their members will be here for a little shootout with with the Edmonton Elks, another partner we want to thank for all of their work in supporting getting these great video boards around the courts. The Elks were a huge partner in that, and the Stingers and the Elks will have a little bit of a shootout coming up after 2:40. Canada Basketball for their continued support of 3x3 basketball, and of course Edmonton, the home to the senior women's national team. Innovative Benefits, William Huff, the people that get all these signs set up. Taste of Edmonton, Edmonton Youth Basketball Association. So huge thanks to all of them for all the great work that they do to bring this to life.
Yeah, seriously, thank you, especially on such a short notice and coming out of the pandemic. A lot of this is very new, and so everyone that has supported us, thank you, as we are back underway as a long 2 by France, no good, but right back to the French. Now Guapo holds it and hands off Bernie, back to Guapo, wide open 2 from the right wing, no good, and rebound deflects to the USA.
Really open look for Guapo.
Sometimes it's too open.
Yeah, sometimes it is, but ball will actually remain with France, it appears.
Yeah, they do. There's a tough deflection underneath. Guapo works on Richardson and is fouled. No shot. Foul happened right before. This is certainly not the NBA because that would have been an and one there. That is the 4th foul on the U.S., though, so both teams edging towards that bonus territory as we approach the halfway mark of this game, tied at 7. Guapo left wing. Nowhere to go inside, guarded by Richardson. She holds. Now she drives with the right, takes Richardson off the bounce, no good. Cox with the easy rebound. Harper on the left wing. She'll handle, now she'll pull. Nope, dump down to Cox, and she'll just throw up a nice little shot over Mane and score. Great little shot there by Cox.
Yeah, Marie-Mane really right almost in the face of Cox, but just that length and size of Cox and that nice deft touch she has made that shot a no-brainer.
Who else but Guapo ties us back up at 8. Nice take there. Now right back comes Richardson, and she's fouled. And we'll head to the line. And that is the 6th foul on France. So the U.S. shoots free throws on all defensive fouls from here on out. This one a shooting foul, so Richardson will get the 1 shot. But that is a huge point in the game, especially one that's tied at this point.
Yeah, and you get a look at the most recent basket from both Guapo and Cox, and that's probably what's impressed me the most about Cox is just that touch that she has. I mean, a real shooter's touch, despite the fact that, I mean, she is clearly a 5 in the 5-on-5 game.
Berni gets her own rebound off a miss, too. Kicks out Mane. No good from the corner. Richardson eventually gets the loose ball. Lene Harper will throw up a 2 and nail it. And we've seen that. Harper can get going in a hurry. U.S. extends their lead to 3. Mane holds left wing. And she's given space. She'll take the shot and hit it. Too much space for Mane.
Yeah, there has been. I mean, more in this game than we've seen in most, where teams are able to find open looks outside.
Cox working on Mane. Shot clock low. She'll spin and turn around, and why even bother? She's going to hit almost all of her turnarounds. Big shot.
Just nothing else you can do if you're Marie-Mane.
And then the rotation by Cox there on defense, just enough to throw off Majka Dunmi on that layup. And now Harper with the 2 from the corner, no good. Good defense. Now back out to Berni. And over to Mane, right wing 2, just off back rim, but the rebound right back to France. They rotate it. And Mane will get the ball back on the right wing. Shot clock is down to 5, and kickball violation will reset the shot clock.
Yeah, Berni actually got a step on Richardson cutting down the lane, and that's where Mane was trying to go, and Cox able to get a foot on it just to eliminate the pass, but does force a reset of the shot clock.
Mane holds on the elbow and throws it out of bounds. One in the last 5 or 6 possessions, U.S. has uncharacteristically struggled on the defensive glass as France has gotten several extra opportunities. As they reverse their call, the ball will remain with France. The U.S. is definitely going to want to clean up that glass. They have too much size, and Harper's an outstanding rebounder as a point guard to allow that to happen. But a nice drive by Majka Dunmi as France gets back within a point. Richardson shot fake, takes Guapo to the basket and scores. U.S. back up to 13-11.
On that rebounding point, Team USA in their 8 appearances so far in the women's series, 16.1 rebounds per game. The only team better than them is Germany at 16.3 in terms of the teams that are here at this tournament.
Richardson's fadeaway well short, rebounded by Guapo. She'll work on Cox, take her left, now kick back out. Mane, shot fake, drives left, now back out to Guapo. 2-woman game. Guapo pulls up for 2 from the wing, just off the mark. Good box out by Alan Taylor. Much better effort on the glass. Alan Taylor takes it in, drives, takes a lot of contact by Majka Dunmi, who's taken all of the beating so far. No foul either way. Guapo spins, misses, but draws the foul and will head to the line. Somebody get Victoria Majka Dunmi an ice bath after this. She has earned it.
Yeah, and she's getting a hug from Romain Berni right now. And while we have a moment, I mentioned Red Bull. I just want to add one thing. If you are down on site, if you're going to come down here to Ice District, you can come over to the practice court and try out Red Bull Siakam's World for a Chance to Win. A VIP extended experience, or a VIP expanded experience to trip. Let's restart this. A VIP expenses paid experience to Toronto for a meet and greet with Pascal Siakam at a Raptors home game. You can see Red Bull and you can sign up at the QR code sign, learn the rules, and shoot for your chance to win.
That's another great opportunity. And as you mentioned briefly, the Elks and Stingers with the little local bragging rights on the line in a shootout happening in just a couple of hours. So just a great entire weekend's worth of entertainment down here in Ice District as Guapo misses her first free throw of the day, and the U.S. rebounds. Richardson out on the left wing with the basketball. She'll dump it down to Cox, working on Guapo, spins right, draws contact, no foul. Cox tips the rebound out. Right there is Harper, and she scores. All effort by Lauren Cox.
Yeah, just France thought they had that. And next thing you know, it's back in the hands of the U.S. and Guapo so good with that little drop step, spin back to her dominant hand.
I think I see some frustration from Cox. I don't know if she knows what to do to defend her, and that too is well off the mark, and France will take the ball back down to 14-12.
But if you're Cox, it's so hard to defend because that hard drop step, you think she's going to go up with the left. You have to respect that, and you have to honor that. So Cox drops down herself. Then Guapo is able to step back, and with her length, can get the ball out of the reach of Cox. So I can understand the frustration for sure.
And Guapo again takes it in, this time no good. She asked for the foul, none forthcoming, but Bernier cleans up the glass and pulls France within a point. Richardson draws contact, and she will head to the line for 2 as France has just committed their 7th team foul.
Maja Kudemi, 67th ranked player in the world, hoping to find a way to play at home at the 2024 Olympics in Paris. So all of this is part of that conversation too for these athletes as they start to think ahead to, of course, future FIBA 3x3 events, but then of course the Olympics coming up in Paris in a couple years' time.
Absolutely, and when we get into the men's side later today, there are some Olympians. Well, actually, why even bother with that? There's a couple Olympians playing in our next game with the Plouffe sisters.
Well, Letitia Guapo, an Olympian
Guapo
herself, who played in 3x3. The Plouffes played not in 3x3, but 5-on-5. But for Guapo, she was an Olympian last year in Tokyo, where France finished 4th in 3x3, and the first time that it was played at an Olympic Games.
That was great exposure. I think that's really the first time a lot of people got to see how good this game and entertaining this game can be at the 3-on-3 level. Harper, nice screen by Cox, and she works around and scores. Guapo quickly works on Cox in the low block, though shot faked. Cox doesn't bite, and now a long 2 tossed up too long. Good rebound by Mane, who draws the foul on Alan Taylor. That's the U.S.'s 6th, so we got bonus free throws for both teams the rest of the way after this foul.
Well, and again, the U.S. at 17, and time starting to become a factor for France here as well. Yes, the shot clock is short, but that time can go quickly. France needs to find some offense in the next couple possessions.
Mane will try to provide that from the right elbow. And a long 2 thrown up by Maj Kadimi, way too long, but she runs all the way, grabs her loose ball rebound, but no shot clock reset. Unfortunate, because that was she had to run 30 feet, or 10 meters, I guess, since we're on a FIBA broadcast, but that was a heck of an effort to try to save her own miss.
But that's a bit of a lack of awareness on the part of Guapo, which is something we haven't seen much, where obviously that shot did not touch the rim, and to not put the shot up right away forced that shot clock violation.
And Harper, off a great feed from Cox, puts U.S. up by 5. And after what was a back-and-forth battle early, the U.S. has really started to pull away here ever since we had that shot clock malfunction timeout, really. But a big 2 for France and Bernier, and they're within 3. Don't count them out yet. Here's Cox on her turnaround. Friendly roll home. Why not? 19-15 U.S. Long 2 for Maj Kadimi, and she misses that, and out of bounds. USA basketball. A 2 from the USA would end the game.
Yeah, Maja Kudemi just struggling a little bit from long range. Then a couple air balls back-to-back for her.
Maybe fatigue setting in a little bit for the French team that's playing their second game in short order while the U.S. is playing their first of the day. Richardson travels. Good defense by Guapo there. Had to be careful because any foul is going to send a U.S. player to the line for 2 where they could essentially walk off the game from the free throw line. Great defense by Guapo as we get a timeout on the court.
Yeah, and starting to see a little, I mean, they're up 19-15, but again, some frustration on the part of the Americans. But I think part of that, you know, some of these players still relatively new to this game, and just again, you're just understanding how the game's called, and it's not going to be called the same way as you would see in 5-on-5. And I think they're, and I understand. I mean, you've grown up playing a certain way.
Yes.
It's going to be tough to all of a sudden, hey, why is this person, you know, able to do what they can do against me, and it's not a call. So there's some of that adjustment factor that has to play in.
And maybe a little bit of the, there's no more star treatment here. All 4 of these women for the U.S. played at a high level in the NCAA college ranks, but everybody's equal on this 3-on-3 playing field as Berni jacks up a 2 that's blocked by Harper. Cox with the rebound. Long kick out to Harper. Again, U.S. can win with a 2. And Harper will drive in, kick back out to Cox. She'll try it from 2. Well short. Guapo with the rebound. Hard run into the board for Brianna Richardson. Leads to an open 2, cashed by Mane. Hopefully Richardson's okay. That was hard contact.
That was hard. And I think wind knocked out of her a little bit.
Cox misses the shot there, and that'll stay with the U.S. Knocked out of bounds by Mane, but France hanging around.
Hanging around, yeah, that was a hard hit, and there you get that 2 knocked down by Mane. 16% only is she from long range.
Long 2, Harper hits it from the right wing, and the U.S. holds on, and they will be our first to advance to the final, 21-17. Pretty fitting that Lene Harper, who seems to show up at all the big moments, ends this one for the U.S. as they stay perfect in this tournament. They will face the winner of Canada, Force 10 in the final. Not the best we've seen out of the U.S., but a gutty performance, and they do what they have to, and they beat the World Cup champs.
They did, yeah. I'd say it was, let's put it this way. If that game had gone either way, if France had found a way to come back and win, I probably would have said the same thing. Both teams, I think, because of the style of the opposition, it was a grinded-out game, even though it ended 21-17. It was a physical battle, and full credit to France for Magic Kudumi clearly not 100%. Just having to struggle through that a little bit. They couldn't knock down shots. They got some offense early from the likes of other players than Guapo, but couldn't find it late. And the U.S. just started to knock down some shots late, and it was too much for France to overcome.
Yeah, and maybe that fatigue. And then Maj Kudumi took about a dozen shots to the body, so maybe that fatigue that's built up from that extra game might have affected the French a little bit, and the U.S. just wears them down in the end. But another well-balanced attack. Cox and Harper and Richardson, especially, all 3 of those made huge impacts in that game.
They really did, and I think that's it's the winning type formula. I think having that, when you look at the balance of players that they've got the quick guard, they've got the big post, they've got players that can shoot from all over the floor. That seems to be or is a winning formula that can work. France just, again, could not find enough consistent offense from elsewhere, and hey, credit to France. That was a good battle. That was a really good basketball game between 2 really good teams.
Yeah, we continue that trend of some pretty competitive games. Oh, by the way, we're moving right into our other semifinal here. Force 10 versus Team Canada. And Force 10, who pulled off the biggest upset of this tournament so far just an hour or so ago against the world's #1 Germany, takes on a team, and with this crowd that is a capacity crowd at what it looks like now, this is, the World Cup silver medalist here in Canada, this is going to be another outstanding matchup.
Yeah, it really should be. And Casey Bosch, first to be introduced, she was outstanding yesterday. Of course, we've got Paige Crozen, former Utah Ute, played there with Michelle Plouffe, and then the Plouffe sisters, Michelle and Catherine. So this too, another good formula. That quick guard, you've got the big bodies, and Crozen that can play inside and out. It's a good balance too. And Force 10, however, the team coming together, and we'll see if they've got enough to overcome the Canadian team that is ranked #6 in the world.
Yeah, we've literally watched Force 10 grow up in front of us. Their first game of the tournament, not pretty. No offensive sync whatsoever. Gained a little bit yesterday in their second and third games. They get the tough draw of Germany, and it was night and day. We saw a Force 10 team, Catherine Westbild, Alexis Peterson, Merritt Hempy, and Blake Dietrich. Their 4, all of them showed up. Now Westbild ended that game with a nice little layup, and Alexis Peterson runs that offense, but all 4 of these women certainly capable of taking over the game. Another balanced attack, but so is Canada. All 4. Now we have 2 teams where all 8 players combined are capable of scoring in and out. Force 10 gets it underway. We are underway as Peterson jacks up a free throw line jumper and scores. 1-0 Force 10. And a turnover. Nope, that's going to be knocked off Catherine Plouffe, and it'll be Force 10 basketball.
Yeah, I think Plouffe just made the decision. I'm just going to knock this one out of bounds and just make sure that I'm not going to reach too far and have Force 10 go backdoor on me.
And no pun intended, but they try to force it into Hempy as both Plouffe are combined to have that pass go sailing out of bounds. And now Michelle Plouffe will handle from the left wing and be given the entire length of the court to miss a wide open layup.
Yeah, back to what you said before on the long two. Sometimes you have too much time to think about it.
And a nice layup there by Westbeld, who's been very impressive in this tournament. Now Michelle Plouffe, another look at a layup. This one falls.
Just had to go with the left hand, that's all.
Absolutely, switch it up. I mean, you as a former coach, you got to use the left hand on the left side of the basket.
That's right, that's what coaches taught me. Funny thing is, even at my age when I'm out playing, I'm still thinking that way. Like, I will not take a right hand or a layup from the left side with my right hand, but
Force 10 ball, 2-1 lead for them early on as Westbeld another, that one will roll off, bothered enough by Catherine Plouffe, who will get the ball on the left wing, and a nice pass, good defense. Dietrich intercepted what was a great pass for Croison.
Yeah, Croison just came around a little bit late and thought she had an easy look at it, and Dietrich read that play very well.
Good D by Bosch, denies Peterson at the rim. Now we're on the left wing, Croison hands off to Catherine Plouffe, she'll spin in, now the right hand takes it and scores.
The one thing I'll say, sorry Patrick, the one thing that I'll say is I think the pace of this game might favor Canada in the sense of their ability with their 3x3 experience at this pace to understand what to do in certain moments. We'll see if that holds out to be true, but I wonder if this pace actually favors the Canadians.
Bosch bodies up, misses the shot, but right there is Catherine Plouffe to follow. And much like the first game, Force 10 is coming off a short turnaround. Canada's playing their first game of the day. Continue to play at a fast pace as Force 10 retakes the lead. That's going to wear you down.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the pace of play I think Force 10 can do, it's the 3x3 decision making that I wonder if it starts to disappear a little bit.
Eventually, after 3 attempts between Plouffe and Bosch, one falls and we're tied at 4.
Canada not shooting the ball overly well early.
Nice move by Dietrich as she spins in and scores, and back and forth we go. Force 10 up a point.
Blake Dietrich, 40th ranked player in the United States. World ranking of 132.
Bosch opts to give up the open shot to go inside to Plouffe, and I think that's the wrong decision, but it'll be Force 10 ball, and now a 2 from the wing is well short from Westbeld, and Bosch a nice rebound and pressure. And Catherine Plouffe will dump it down low, intercepted by Peterson. And Peterson will now find Westbeld, who spins, stopped by Croison, but somehow finds a way through and scores.
Yeah, Force 10 showing some offensive mettle here early.
And a long 2, no good. Catherine Plouffe with the rebound, fouled. It goes without saying, though, this is the most out of sync I think I've seen the Canadian offense all weekend.
No, and I was just going to say, I mean, it was much my point moments ago of pace and that 3x3 knowledge playing a factor. Right now, I would agree, Canada definitely not feeling that same kind of rhythm and smoothness to their game that we saw throughout the better part of yesterday.
Michelle Plouffe takes a shot to the face, foul on the floor, second foul on Force 10. Now Plouffe gets it back. Held, could have called another one there. Croison, easy free throw line jumper, good.
And Paige Croison, later in games, she becomes a better shooter, and that was a factor yesterday, and they're going to need her here today as Force 10 continues to knock down shots.
Hempy shows an outside game she didn't show yesterday with that 2. Her second 2 of the day, and an answer from Michelle Plouffe. That's more like the Canada we saw yesterday.
And that's a big bucket, trailing by 3 for Michelle to get one back.
And a foul on Croison. She's calling all ball, and it was close. And for the umpteenth time, we have a debate with the officials as we get a timeout on the court. Early 8-7 lead for Force 10. We talked a bit about the Canadian offense, but defensively, Force 10 kind of having their way right now. What adjustments does Canada need to make defensively?
Well, I find Canada right now kind of box themselves into corners, playing to that quick close that Force 10 has. I wonder if Canada looks to spread the floor a little bit, try to open up some space for dribble penetration, which the likes of the Plouffes can do. So if they get a matchup on with Westbeld or Hempy, do they have some space to put the ball on the floor? Because I think that's a strength that the Plouffes have. And then you have to ask, can Westbeld and Hempy stay with the quickness of the Plouffes?
Yeah, Westbeld has been awfully impressive in this tournament so far. Ended the quarterfinal win over Germany with a hustle tip-in. Free throw by Hempy is good. Force 10 back up by 2. But the length of the Plouffe over time, and I think they just called that a carry?
I think she stepped out of bounds. I think just that back heel caught the sideline.
And another little small but significant mistake on the part of the Canadians, who are struggling for the first time in this tournament. Catherine Plouffe knocks it off Dietrich, and out to Hempy. Misses that shot from the same spot she made from earlier, and loose ball out of bounds will be force 10 ball with 2 seconds. And for the first time in the women's portion of the knockout games, we actually have low foul counts early on as a long two forced up at the buzzer miss. Michelle Plouffe pulls down the rebound. She'll handle, take with the left, dish to her sister on the right, and an easy basket. Nice offense there by the Canadians, and out of bounds. That one will be
force 10. I think Crozon was trying to sell it, but I don't think it actually touched any of the force 10 players.
You got to try, but the ref was right on top of it.
Absolutely, yeah, you got to try.
Ball goes right wing to Dietrich, looking for Peterson wide open on the left wing for two. And again, missing a wide open shot. Great screen set there, freed her up, but just did not hit the open shot.
And Canada has not shot the ball overly well here so far, so you wonder if a little run might be coming from them. We've seen that in the pool play.
Nice spin by Catherine, misses it. Fights for the rebound, tipped long by Hempy, run down by Crozon, who is pushed by an incredulous Hempy.
And Paige Crozon does a good job to get to that ball and just stop dead, draws the foul from behind. But again, Canada just right around the rim, stuff not falling for them. Credit to Force 10 contesting everything inside.
Michelle spins, misses the shot, gets her own rebound, scores. Good hustle there over Westbeld. And some off-ball contact afterwards.
Yeah, a little shot between Michelle and Westbeld.
And a beautiful move by Dietrich, who was almost a non-factor yesterday offensively for the second straight game, putting it together on the offensive end. Inside of Crozon, who's held and fouled by Dietrich.
Dietrich averaging 3.3 points a game. It's a point value of 17.8.
Catherine Plouffe on the right elbow. Nice handoff. There's Bosch, and she scores, and the foul. Dietrich knew that happened. And we said this several times. If you're going to foul, make sure she misses it. And she didn't, and an and one for Bosch.
Yeah, Dietrich just got caught on the back hip of Bosch. And Bosch just, we were talking to Alberta Basketball Executive Director Paul Sir, and he described Bosch as, I mean, she just does all the little things that this team needs. You need an extra rebounder, she's that. You need a shot knockdown, she's that. You need a hustle play, she does that. So it's all those little things for the former four-year University of Lethbridge pronghorn, two-time Canada West All-Star.
Big swap by Michelle Plouffe, who gets a little chest bump from her sister as she denies. That's Peterson, who's slow to get up, but she's okay. Good rotation, though.
And gets just to check in from Catherine. Make sure she's all right.
Physicality has definitely upped itself here on knockout day, as a long two by Dietrich is good, and Force 10 takes the lead back 12-11. Dietrich with 5 early on. Michelle Plouffe fouled in the act of shooting and almost got an N1-2, but she'll get 2 free throws.
Yeah, that little step back, and Hempy closed. And there's that late one from Dietrich as the shot clock expired. And Michelle Plouffe at the free throw line. Perfect so far here this weekend. Shooting 38% as well from two-point range.
There's a point yesterday in their final game. I think it was the Plouffes like 16 and the other team about 8. We haven't seen that yet today, but certainly capable as Michelle hits the first of 2 and ties this game up at 12.
And I think Dietrich is cut. I'm just sort of looking over. It looks like almost on the back part of her shoulder. And I saw the trainer trying to hustle over there and to get that cleaned up.
That's a big loss as Hempy misses a long 2.
Yeah, Dietrich's been great here in this game for the U.S.
And now no subs unless she's able to get rid of that blood and check back in as Catherine finds space over Hempy and scores. And Canada has their first multi-point lead of the game, 14-12, and a foul off the ball on Canada. But much better from Canada in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, I think starting to settle in, and you're seeing a little bit of what I talked about, them trying to create some space, especially for the Plouffe, see if they can open up the floor a little bit for that dribble penetration.
Crozone challenges Westfeld's shot, but she is fouled and she'll head to the line. One free throw coming, just the 4th foul on Canada. Force 10 already at their limit. All Force 10 fouls on the defensive end will result in Canada free throws from here on. As Catherine Plouffe finds Crozone open in the corner, too good. Cross-court pass, beautiful.
Yeah, good awareness, good floor awareness. Then Peterson comes right back, the little floater down the lane.
And a heavy collision. Bosch is down stinging now. Peterson with the foul, and she's not happy. That's going to be 2 free throws. But the bigger concern right now is for Bosch, who, until the final game of the day yesterday when we had a small injury, we had a very injury-free day, and we've seen a lot of players, both in the men's qualifiers and the women's knockouts, take some tumbles.
Yeah, and that's just a big collision. And I know Alexis Peterson doesn't like the call, but that's one of those situations where if you're the defensive team in that situation, it's pretty rare you're not going to get the one call. She's trying to sneak in to tip the ball away. Nothing wrong with doing that, but if a collision happens, it's often the defensive player that gets it, and in that case, it is Peterson. Again, she's still shaking her head. I know she doesn't like the call. As you take a look at some of the crowd out here at Ice District in downtown Edmonton, and they're looking at appears to be the left leg of Casey Bosch, and we'll take a look at some of the earlier highlights in this game.
Right there, Catherine Plouffe with the layup, and the aforementioned Dietrich, who has had 5 of the points for Force 10, and there is definite concern for Bosch. Even beyond this game, you might be able to get through this game, but you're going to face a U.S. team that's going to be on slightly more rest in the final. You would be at a huge disadvantage if you have to go at them with no subs.
Well, Catherine Plouffe is chuckling a little bit, so that's a good sign, I figure. That's all the medical evidence that I have. But yeah, Bosch very slow to her feet, and
that's not good.
Does not look good. And Bosch Peterson comes over to check. Again, nothing intentional by Peterson at all. It was just a collision. She was just going for that, trying to step in to tip that ball away, and sometimes that happens. And again, you just end up with a big collision. So I'm not even going to begin to speculate what it might be, but clearly a left leg injury for Casey Bosch.
And the sister lift off the court. The Plouffes help her to the bench, and now Michelle will head to the line for the 2 bonus free throws in place of Bosch. Big free throws coming, and the first one good is Canada. If they make this next one and can put some separation as we edge towards the end of the game, all of a sudden, we still got 4 minutes left, and if Michelle hits this free throw, Canada will be 3 points away from ending the game. Out of nowhere almost.
Just some key shots Canada started to knock down, but still a long ways to go. And Force 10 with their offensive explosiveness can find some answers.
Dietrich at the top now, handles, working on Catherine Plouffe, and is that foul? Okay, that foul's off ball on Crozone. I was going to say I saw no contact on the shot, but they're going to call that off ball, and that's Canada's 5th, so they still have 1 to give. Westbeld will toss over to Peterson on the right wing, creates some space with the arms, now finds Dietrich, great shot fake, and a pass to Westbeld, and she scores. Dietrich continues to impress. Quick 2 by Crozone, just short, and Westbeld with the rebound. That would have been huge for Canada. Force 10 really needs to score on this possession. Nice step back by Westbeld. Good 1-point game. Oh my.
That's a really nice shot by Westbeld on that putback, or that step back, I should say.
And then she creates the defense enough on Michelle Plouffe to force the miss. Now in the corner, she's got a chance for the lead. No good. And Canada dodges a bullet, and now Michelle Plouffe will handle, get a screen from her sister Catherine, and is fouled on the floor. And we'll head to the line for 2 free throws and a chance to put this lead back up by 3. And that's a tough foul to take if you're Force 10.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and didn't look like a lot of contact from Dietrich as Plouffe just stumbled a little bit coming through, and the trainer continues to work on Casey Bosch just at the bottom of your screen there.
And we got a timeout on the court as the winner of this again faces USA in the final. That final scheduled to start at 3:05 p.m. Mountain Time, which is the local time here in Edmonton. And right after that, we'll take a short break and head right into men's pool play all the way until almost 10 o'clock tonight. So long day of basketball.
Absolutely, and if you are in the Edmonton area and watching this, hey, you can get on down here. Like Patrick said, games going on all the rest of the day, and then tomorrow starting the late morning and through the afternoon.
Michelle Plouffe, perfect from the line so far. Broadcaster's jinx, my bad.
Yeah, hey, I do it all the time, so that's usually my forte, as Mark Majot knows well.
Michelle's second free throw good. Canada back up by 2. They're within a 2 of winning. And that's big with the bonus. They probably are going to try to draw that foul and walk it off on free throws. Alexis Peterson handles on Catherine Plouffe, fouled, but she'll go to the line after the miss, and she's fired up after that, headed to the line for 1. 6th foul on Canada, so we got free throws abound for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and with Bosch on the bench, that creates some huge matchup challenges for Canada in terms of defending Peterson. Have to think it becomes Paige Croson gets that assignment as much as possible.
And Michelle Plouffe takes it in on Hempy and scores, and has a little something to say for the contact afterwards. Any Canada bucket after this ends the game, force 10. And Peterson on the left wing crosses over between her legs. Lots of bodies fall. The shot doesn't. And wide open. Now here comes Michelle Plouffe. She'll drive it in. Kick off. Offensive foul. Look at the height from Peterson. She has put everything into this game for force 10 to draw that charge.
Yeah, in that case there, and again, easy for me to say, but that just a little pull-up jumper from a couple meters out might have been the wiser decision rather than take the chance of driving right through. I know you want to go to the rim. I get that, but sometimes that little runner, when no one's coming out to defend you, might be the wiser choice. But hey, that among about 475 other reasons why I'm sitting here and I'm not on the floor.
And we do not have time for all 475.
No, and you don't want to hear a lot of them anyway.
But anyways, we have a timeout here quickly on the court as Canada a point away from advancing to what would be a very intriguing final against the U.S. I think that's the one, especially after watching the games yesterday, that we would all thought we'd see and want to see. Now, whether or not Casey Bosch can recover and make that final appearance remains to be seen. But at this point, Canada just wants to get to that final, and whatever happens after that happens. Happy fakes the handoff, now gives it to Peterson. She'll drive on Michelle Plouffe, defending off the switch, trip on the ground, and Peterson, much like Maj Kadunmi in the first game, has taken her fair share of a beating, but she'll get 2 bonus free throws to try to tie this game up.
Yeah, I think the argument there, and I'm not sure if we have a replay of it, again, whether Peterson lost her balance a little bit. Didn't look like a lot. We saw a foul similar on Dietrich earlier. I didn't think there was a whole lot of contact, and they got her for 1, and it might have been a similar situation there for Plouffe.
Peterson trying to tie this one up at 20. She gets the friendly roll. Sudden death basketball 2020. You do not need to win by 2. Michelle Plouffe drives on Peterson. Size mismatch, and she ends it. And look what that means to the Edmontonian native as she takes the small Peterson in the post. Canada bent, but they did not break, and they move on to the final.
No, that's very well put. And yeah, they get that matchup they want. Again, space the floor. They were able to do that later in this game, and you get that matchup on Peterson, who's an excellent defender, but gives up probably, a good foot or so. And that's a tough one for Force 10. Hey, credit to Force 10 as, a quick check-in from Peterson on Bosch, seeing that she's okay. But for Force 10, that's their first appearance in the women's series. That's pretty impressive for them. And like you said, Canada did not break. They bent a little bit, but that's a resilient team that found an answer today.
Yeah, it's very, very resilient, and they're going to have to show some of that, whether they have a half health or no. Casey Bosch will let you know when we have the final here coming up very shortly. 3:05 p.m. scheduled start for that. That's Mountain Time, so in about 25 minutes, we're going to step off the air, catch our breath for what should be one heck of a conclusion to the women's portion of the tournament. Men's tournament to follow after that. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more here from Ice District. He's Doug McLean. I'm Patrick Erickson. We'll see you shortly for the women's final at 3:05.
Sometimes you have to let certain people know, you know. Can't mix up in that. Can't mix up in that madness, you get me? Yeah, hey. Don't have to call my line. Might as well save your cred. Message me multiple times. You will get left on red. Why you gotta stand so close? Understand we are not friends. Done with doing pally. Most of them fake in the end. Don't have to call my line. Might as well save your cred. Message me multiple times. You will get left on red. Why you gotta stand so close? Understand we are not friends. Done with doing pally. Most of them fake in the end.
Yo, don't get it twisted. Say my name can't run with no dimwit. Let me dirty, know you can't fix it. Them bad energy's too dark to risk it. Since a teen on you, I be a misfit. Couldn't even repair that quick flip. You lot sharing split about big that's mine. Rather be at home, tea and biscuit. Not to the biscuit, not play victim. But your actions are what made you afflicted. Addicted to begging, I beg that you stay far. Don't smile in my face, I greet you like I'm Ray Charles. Hit the road, I'm in it to make bars. Bare family, we don't adopt any fake cars. Rather chat business than to make cars. If that's you, when I bit late cars. Sayonara, au revoir. Take your whole career as a part. What's a flow T to an art? Little fish can't put fear in a sock. Put faith in my pen when creating an art. And I know how to shine when I'm facing the dark. Basic MCs are a walk in the park. And I still see no bite when I race into bar. I was never faced from the start. Riding a wave but we're oceans apart. Speak about peace but there's hate in the heart. Don't want you to win, they're just making a mark. Practice what they preach, I'm not involved. Keep my distance, true colour show. So good at staying involved, but sus them when creating your glow.
Don't have to call my line. Might as well save your cred. Message me multiple times. You will get left on red. Why you gotta stand so close? Understand we are not friends. Done with doing pally. Most of them fake in the end. Don't have to call my line. Might as well save your cred. Message me multiple times. You will get left on red. Why you gotta stand so close? Understand we are not friends. Done with doing pally. Most of them fake in the end.
What's loyalty nowadays? Is it just a phase for your entertainment? Every week it's a rearrangement. Every chat is a different statement. Heard your tone switch, thought no one noticed when certain names got mentioned. Just last week you were calling a fam. Firms in a hands on entrance. Cut ties but you can't cut tension. Extension can't reach no more. Same time you wanna call with excuses. Same time you'll be a plus 4-4. Same time you wanna indirectly. I must expect your moves to get thrown. Can't take this for no animation. If it's sketchy then it's locked off, no respawn. I was blessed from born. Mad that I'm here with the mess I saw. Real situations expose your soul. Real situation expose your thoughts. I was blessed from born. Mad that I'm here with the mess I saw. Real situations expose your soul. Real situations expose your thoughts.
Good morning, PM. You know the dealio. You know the dealio.
beat, I am ripping it. Old school with some new heat like my timber. And you can find me on the streets of London, entering or in studio, getting it or at the airport tripping, man. They say love goes through the stomach, so I wanna give a shout out to my girl Chicken Dish. I'm a monster with the beats, ask them youngins on the streets, $50, I bet all of them agree with me. I'm a yes man, tell a rapper no. Why you wanna kiss my hit is better if you go. I was looking damn fly, man, before I had some dough, but most look like fashion victims, tell them, yo, F a foot in the door, I wanna leg in. Yeah, my jeans skin in, but why y'all wearing leggings? Flow so sick, I don't need a track it. I am ahead, I make the snapback match it. Whatever, man, we can talk the talk, it's whatever, but talk money. Cause except for the air that we breathe in, that is for free. So put your hands in the air like this. Let me see them high in the air like this. Gotta grind, gotta keep it business. Tell them, hey, if you don't pay, it is whatever, man. Now let me hear you say. Now let me hear you say. Now let me hear you say. DJ drop it. I was the pilot, not the wingman in the cockpit. Music is opening doors for me like a locksmith. So I keep on rocking, keep it independent. They just keep on knocking. Thick, no science fiction. Sipping on.
Welcome back to Ice District Plaza. It is Team Canada taking on Team USA in the final of the FIBA 3x3 Women's Series stop here in Edmonton. Doug McLean along with Patrick Erickson. And Patrick, you and I and Mark Majot have been talking about this as the possible final from pretty early on yesterday, and here we are. We get it, the matchup of the two North American squads.
Yeah, pretty much after I think we saw Canada knock off France and the U.S. beat Germany. These were the teams that we thought we'd see in the final, and indeed we do. Two excellent teams. You got the chemistry of the Canadians, and you've got the pedigree, at least of the NCAA variety of the Americans. Neither team has lost so far. Canada was just pushed to the very brink by Force 10, 21-20. They survive into the final. And some player news, it does not, unfortunately, look like Casey Bosch is going to be able to play. I'm not going to speculate, but maybe if there had been some more time, who knows. But she is walking around, but as you mentioned, big difference between walking and running at a high level of athletics.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, she is going to be in and around the bench. So, I mean, you never know. Stranger things have happened, but if you missed the semifinal with Force 10, just an unfortunate collision between her and Alexis Peterson. And Bosch took the worst of it and was down for quite a while favoring that left leg. But she is walking around okay. Doesn't appear to be favoring it a ton. But again, that's a whole different story than trying to cut and plant and turn and push off and jump. So we will see. And that would be a big loss for Team Canada. But hey, like lots of really good teams say, you just don't worry about it. Now Bosch starting to run a little bit here, so the plot may be thickening.
You know she wants to play in this game.
You don't get to be an athlete at this level and not want to play in absolutely everything you possibly can. So we'll see what happens. But let's frame these two teams. First, Team USA, a team that has only had one Women's Series appearance so far, but with the post-play of Lauren Cox and the speed outside, they've been a pretty tough matchup so far.
Yeah, versatility. Lauren Cox has been outstanding, and then Lene Harper providing a lot of that speed, but she's not the only one. Joanne Allen-Taylor, an excellent guard, and Brianna Richardson does a little bit of everything. Lots of overall talent there. And again, the pedigree of multiple national champions in the NCAA on it for the U.S. But then you counter that with a team that has essentially grown up playing together. In case of half the team in the Plouffe literally grown up together playing basketball, and that chemistry has been apparent all tournament long.
So handicap this one for us. I mean, what are the matchups you're curious about? I mean, we know the Plouffes and trying to deal with Lauren Cox. Who's the wild card in this one? Maybe one for each team.
I would say the wild card at this point for U.S. has to be Lene Harper, simply because we don't know what Bosch's status is, and she would be the one to guard her. Harper might be the quickest player here. Alexis Peterson would give her a run for the money, but what player would guard Lene Harper, and can she take advantage of that? And then for Team Canada, let's go with Paige Crozon. She had a little bit more of a quiet game in this last win over Force 10, but she was a factor, especially late in games. And obviously, with the uncertainty surrounding Bosch, she's going to have to step it up a bit here in the final. So yeah, I'll go with Crozon for Canada and Lene Harper for the U.S.
That Paige Crozon led Canada in scoring on day one, 22 points in the 3 games that Canada won. They knocked off Romania, France, as well as, I don't have my last one here. That's okay, but 3-0 yesterday, and then Team USA, their wins on day one over the Netherlands, Germany, and X-Wing before beating France in their semifinal. Of course, as Patrick mentioned, Team Canada knocking out Force 10 in their semifinal.
That's actually, that's the second time we saw Canada beat Force 10 in that. And Bosch does get introduced. She's going to make us guess all the way up, and if she starts on the bench, she might just check back in anyway. So we really hope she plays. You never want to see a tournament decided by an injury, especially this isn't 5-on-5 where you got 7 other players to step in. Canada would be playing with no subs on a slightly quicker turnaround than the U.S. So even if she's at 60-70%, you really hope for Bosch and for Team Canada she can go and give it a run anyways.
As we see Bosch come off the floor, favoring that left knee a little bit, but seemingly moving better than you and I might have expected. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but for the moment, we don't expect Bosch to play. Coin toss now between Michelle Plouffe and Brianna Richardson. Some of the top players in the world. Brianna Richardson, 13 ranked player, woman in the world. Paige Crozon, number 10 in the world. Michelle Plouffe, number 12. Catherine Plouffe, number 34. Lene Harper, number 46, and it will be Team USA that start with the basketball, and it will be number 6, Lene Harper, who did play at the Stella Poitiers event that the U.S. finished second in, and they're trying to better that showing here today against home Team Canada. Plouffe grabs that board, now kicks it out. Crozon 4-2, that one a little bit short. Rebound by Harper. Harper defended by Catherine. Rebound deflect out of bounds. We'll see who they get it off of. It will be, looks like Team Canada ball.
And the early matchup was Crozon guarding Harper, and now Alan Taylor's the matchup as Harper takes a seat for a second. So see if that continues, if Bosch cannot continue. Because who's going to guard the speed of Harper otherwise?
That's right. Football called on the U.S. It will be Team Canada ball. Catherine quickly on the floor. Pull-up jumper, short, trying to get that over Lauren Cox. Richardson loses it as Catherine deflects it out of bounds.
And just like so many of these games, choppy start.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, we've had some real explosive starts, but a lot of slower, kind of feel things out a little bit type starts. A shot off from Richardson. Michelle with the rebound. Crozon thought about it too. Now gets a better look at it. That one short. Rebound by Alan Taylor.
Too early good looks for Crozon, but not able to knock either down.
And good job defensively there by Paige Crozon on Brianna Richardson. Foul not called. It will be Team USA ball, however. Brianna Richardson played at Mississippi State. Paige Crozon, former Utah Ute. And finally, we get a bucket for 2, and that is Lene Harper.
Harper's got a great shot as well as that quick first step. It's really tough to defend her because of that. And was deflected out of bounds, not just a very wild air ball. There was a tip on it.
About 2 seconds on the shot clock for Canada to get a shot off.
And I'm sure they'll try to do, because the U.S. just had a short shot clock similar to the same thing, where Harper off the check ball just tossed up a shot that went in, and Crozon does the same.
No rim. So, and regardless, the U.S. got the defensive board. Harper left open. Another deuce. Canada not finding Harper in the early going. Here's Catherine. Back to Michelle. Quick look at it to herself. That one does not go. Tip from Catherine to Crozon. Jumper goes for Paige Crozan. Canada on the board, trailing 4-1. Harper alone again, knocks down another. Canada really struggling to find Lene Harper. We thought it'd be the speed of Harper, but right now it's her ability to find open looks outside. Crozan quickly with the offensive board and back up, but Canada's got to find some answers defensively here quickly.
Yeah, 3 straight twos, no heat check. She's on fire at this point from downtown.
Richardson short on that jumper just outside the free throw line. Now Harper with Crozan on her. Uses the screen from Cox. Loses it. And a foul on Richardson from behind as Michelle Plouffe got knocked down.
That's much better defense, though. Harper, you saw she was looking for it, and why not? You hit 3 in a row. But Canada closed out just enough to force that ball up and get the loose ball foul.
Crozan to Catherine. Quick spin on Lauren Cox. Catherine Plouffe goes around Cox. Now Cox, chance to answer back. Turnaround jumper. Hand right in her face. But ball will.
Canada.
They're going to go Canada ball. Thought it might have gone off Michelle, but you're saying no. You're saying it should be Canada ball.
I think you're right. I think the pleading of the Blues got that call.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, you're on the same page. I thought it was U.S. ball. Nonetheless, Canada hits another shot, 6-4, and there's a good hard foul from Michelle on Cox to send Cox to the free throw line.
That's what you got to do. We've seen so many light fouls lead to and ones. Plouffe fouls her hard enough and forces her to the charity stripe for 1.
And Cox short on the free throws. Canada's worked themselves back into this game down 6-4 right now. Catherine on the floor, lost the handle, almost got that one off her wrist as she tried to go back up with it. Now Cox working against Michelle. Shot won't go. Cox asking for a foul. Michelle short on that too. Crozan puts it back up, 6-5. Canada starting to get some second chance opportunities. Good play by Cox to tip it to Richardson. And Richardson calmly knocks down the 2. Brianna Richardson for the U.S. 40% from 2-point range. Michelle steps back and answers herself. And that's not easy with Lauren Cox looming right in front of you.
No, probably the biggest player in the tournament, her Kulikowski, as we get our first time out. And after that slow start, what a pickup, what a game this has been. And as you mentioned, they fall down early 6-0. They're essentially limited with no subs, and Canada has earned their way right back into this final.
And interestingly early, I mean, Lene Harper was a factor early, but it was from long range.
Yes.
It wasn't her putting the ball on the floor.
Maybe they're overplaying her to drive, and she took advantage. And we'll see if that adjustment plays out over time. Who knows? She has shown her range earlier in the tournament, but it's definitely not what you defend first when you're talking about Lene Harper, the former Kentucky Wildcat. And Ohio State Buckeye, split her career 2 years at each of those schools.
Yeah, Lene Harper, 48% from 2-point range in her women's series appearances coming into today, so that's prior to today. We don't get the live stat updates. But she certainly hasn't hurt her percentage. Catherine, nice job to set her feet, square up, and get that look to tie it up. 8 apiece. Crozan defending Richardson, gets help from Michelle from behind.
Canada doing a very good job taking advantage of their size advantage. Don't really have a true guard on this team right now, but everyone can handle the ball a bit, and they're forcing it in. Harper's got to defend you down low as much as you got to defend her out in the perimeter, and they make her pay.
Michelle quickly to the corner for 2. Puts it home. Canada has their first lead. 10-8.
Maybe not a timeout.
Yeah, I thought there had been one called too, but no timeout. Will go right back in. Here's Harper to Richardson. A little bit off on that too. Tip from Crozan to Michelle. Here's Michelle Plouffe. Gets a screen from her sister. Now to Crozan. Harper right on her. Quickly back to Michelle. Open for another 2. Doesn't go, but Catherine with the offensive board. Kicks it back out. Michelle right to the rack, doesn't go. Rebound Lauren Cox. Kicks it out for Richardson. Had a long look at that too. Well off. Crozan to herself. Doesn't go. Rebound to Richardson. Catherine closes on her. Harper for 2. That one short, and that'll be deflected out of bounds off the hand of Lauren Cox. So Canada getting some open looks. They're finding Michelle Plouffe. She likes this corner right in front of us.
Yeah, she hit one just a minute ago, and they find her again. And Brianna Richardson did not close out at all, which is uncharacteristic for her. Terrific defender, but Michelle not able to take advantage. Makes up for it right there.
Yeah, and they just run that little curl. Beautiful play by the Plouffes. 11-8 Canada in front. Michelle picks up the foul, trying to tip the ball away from Lauren Cox.
Just the second foul on Canada, and U.S. just with 1. So, I mean, that's what you want. You don't want to see this game decided by free throws, walk-off free throws. So, nice to see a relatively foul-free game.
Alan Taylor blocked by Michelle. Quickly out to the corner. Michelle to the rim, fouled. And the bucket goes for Michelle Plouffe, and that quick transition for Canada right now proving to be a challenge for the U.S.
Yeah, it is, and this is the Canada we saw yesterday. Found it in the second half of that semifinal after a slow start, but man, when their offense gets going, it is a thing of beauty to watch. They have that chemistry. They have an innate sense of where they're going to be. They outthink their opponents, and it shows right there. Although missing the free throw.
But Brianna Richardson, good hard take by her to earn herself a trip to the line, and that's a big free throw miss for Canada. Would have given them a 5-point lead, and we've seen throughout this tournament that 4 or 5-point lead, if you can find a way to stretch it, you're in great shape. Otherwise, those games seem to hang in the balance for longer.
Yeah, Canada got themselves just enough of a lead in that semifinal
right.
to hold on. Yeah, no lead really ever safe, and that's going to be a foul and send Canada to the line, much to the chagrin of Lauren Cox, who has spent half of her tournament hitting turnarounds and the other half complaining to the refs. That might have had a case on that one. It was tough.
Just that screen roll, just that delay pass right down low, tough to defend. Michelle left open for 2, little strong. Catherine with the offensive board. She'll look at a 2 herself. Goes. Lauren Cox got out there, but I think she was worried about the penetration.
Yeah, she absolutely was. It takes a heck of a lot of contact on that, and she's arguing again, but with good cause.
Crozon, that shot won't go. Nearly stolen by Paige Crozon. Now Catherine Plouffe inside to Lauren Cox, and there's a foul from Crozon on Cox. Not one you want, but a great play by the U.S. Good seal, drop step by Lauren Cox.
Yeah, they found Lauren on the non-Plouffe in the post, and that's a matchup you got to take advantage of. But this is a U.S. offense that does not look like the one we've seen the first 4 games. They are not in sorts, and outside of this, when's Lauren Cox touched the basketball in a scoring position?
No, they haven't gotten the ball to her a lot. Here is Catherine, kicks out Crozon, and she stepped out of bounds. Just lost her footing.
Saw her look down there as she gets it, and oh man, that was close, but tough break for the Canada, who Crozon had all day to shoot that.
And we're getting the insight from Reed Wilkins, our man on the ground, said that her foot actually never touched the line. Her heel was over the line, but didn't touch it. So, but that's can be a tough call for the officials from a little further away. So.
It's the advantage of being 2 feet closer to the action than us.
That's right.
We've got the perfect view as we hit another timeout in play. Canada holding on to that lead, but it's been close. But outside of Lene Harper, Harper's flurry to start this game with her 3-2s that put the U.S. up 6-0, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
14-5.
That's right. Cox tries to get underneath Catherine Plouffe. Here is Catherine outside. Kicks it to Crozon on the opposite wing. Now Michelle. Layup. Good. Just a nice slip by Michelle Plouffe.
And U.S. has not figured out how to guard that screen and roll, especially with the size mismatch on Harper.
Crozon slips. Richardson knocks down the 2. Big hit for her.
Catherine's shot swatted by Cox there as she kind of lost her footing on the way up, and that made it an easy block for Cox, but a good block nonetheless. And we'll see if the fatigue settles in, but right now Canada not showing that they have that short bench, or no bench.
Shot had to go pretty quickly, but a decent look for Canada. Harper with a huge 2. 15-14 as Catherine Plouffe a little slow to close. And Lene Harper has made Canada pay throughout this game from long range.
8 points on 4 twos. What a shot there by Harper, and U.S. needed that one big time. Close within 1.
That one just will not drop for Canada. Cox now to Harper, defended by Crozen. Harper had to get that one off. And then inside position, Richardson left alone.
Yeah, good rebound there by Richardson, but I think that was Michelle. Yeah, Michelle, I think had thoughts of a rebound for her sister and waiting out on that three-point arc, a half second late in reacting, and it cost them a point, and we got a tie game.
So a nice run here by the U.S. to tie things up. And there's an errant pass from Catherine to Crozon. And sometimes you get a little bit locked in waiting for something to open up, and I thought that's what happened there, and the pass sails over top the hands of Paige Crozon.
Yeah, absolutely. They were trying to force that play they set up, and it just didn't work. U.S. read it well.
And that shot from two-point range off for the U.S. So no surprise, a tight ball game, just that little curl again, and they do such a great job on that.
No surprise, Plouffe to Plouffe.
We've seen it a few times already. Near turnover, Alan Taylor corrals it, and that shot blocked. Catherine with the rebound. Michelle tried to find Catherine, who had cut to the rim. That was a tough pass, that curl around pass from the baseline. There you get a good look, just that little bump that they force on Richardson and Cox. You end up almost planted as the post there. There's just not a lot you can do. You know what's coming, but your instincts don't let you go where you might need to.
And they tried to do that again. Cox is a little bit isolated. Pass this and go, but that shot does.
That counts. Huge bucket for Michelle Plouffe. Harper kicks it out. Cox, long one for 2, doesn't drop. Here's Michelle, 18-15 Canada. Screen coming from Crozon. Now to Michelle with the matchup on Harper. Matchup they like. And they'll take that. Michelle Plouffe. Good footwork, and then the little finger roll. Harper puts up the 2. And knocks it down with a hand in her face. Canada can win or get 1 point closer. Crozon. Michelle, good!
Can you script the ending better?
Team Canada, winners of the FIBA 3x3 Women's Series event in their home country, and for the Plouffes, in their hometown.
In their hometown, and it's a Plouffe hitting the game-winning shot. And how fitting is that? Because Michelle dominated that game in every facet.
Wow, that was an outstanding effort, and an outstanding effort by the U.S. Lene Harper was fantastic in that game, but your thoughts on what was the difference for Canada in this win today?
I think their defensive adjustments after Harper hit those shots, they just were able to take that away. And Lauren Cox, no effect on that game whatsoever. We've talked enough about the officials and whether or not she got fouled or not on a few plays, but she was taken out of this game once they adjusted, and U.S. didn't have another answer, and Canada just started hitting their shots. Their only problem early was the shots weren't falling, and then all of a sudden Michelle couldn't miss.
Yeah, that seemed to be almost a trend for Canada. Some slow starts, and then when they got going, like you said, Patrick, they didn't miss, and then just that ability to execute those little half-court plays, the little bumps, and the ability to understand where everyone's going to be, that played a role too.
That's the difference of a team that's played in many tournaments this year in the U.S. who is playing and finishing second for their own. They come second in 2 tournaments, so no one's ever going to want to play this U.S. team. That talent is exquisite, and if they continue to play, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the championship series at the end of the season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you look down the road and you look to where these teams will continue to go for Team USA and for Team Canada. Clearly the 2 best teams in this tournament, and fitting that we saw this. And hey, for Team Canada, doing it without Casey Bosch.
Yeah.
And if you would have looked at the numbers that Lene Harper put up,
Yeah.
You would have thought, hey, that puts the U.S. in a pretty good spot, but Canada found an answer.
Yeah, Canada found the answer, and I believe that answer was ensuring that Lauren Cox didn't take over the game as she had in several of the others. Man, that was the answer indeed. So Canada is your women's champion over the U.S. Both teams had not lost before that game, but it is Canada who will finish undefeated and Edmonton 3v3 Women's Series champions. Congratulations to them, and what a moment this has to be for the Plouffe sisters doing this in front of their hometown friends and family.
Yeah, I think it feels pretty good for them for sure, and to have the Canadians come out on top. But hey, just to have the kind of basketball that we've seen over the course of the last 2 days on the women's side, between many great teams, and again, between Canada and the U.S., pretty outstanding performances, but Canada just a little bit better here this afternoon.
Yeah, a little bit better, probably because of that chemistry that comes with just having played together longer. And they are your women's champions, and they pick up a big win. And now we get the men's coming up here shortly.
Yeah, it doesn't end. If you're liking basketball, you're liking 3x3. Yeah, it doesn't end at all. It will continue. So we are going to take a little bit of a break ourselves before we get going with the men's event. That will get going in about 15 minutes time. 3:40 as Antwerp will take on Saitama to start the men's pool play. It was an outstanding FIBA 3x3 Women's Series stop here in Edmonton. Some great teams, some great talent. Finished with a wonderful final between an outstanding U.S. team and an excellent Canadian team. We were fortunate to call it. So Patrick, great doing the games with you. Look forward to doing a little bit more here later on if our voices hold up. Yeah, that's right. We'll try to work on that in the next 10 minutes. We'll be back with men's action in the FIBA 3x3 Alberta Basketball Men's Challenger, which gets going in about 15 minutes. Thanks for tuning in. Congratulations to Canada, winners of the FIBA 3x3 Women's Series stop here in Edmonton.